This is Python's Paradise. This is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena, straight out of Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, but wishing he was living in Toronto because it's so much more awesome than New Brunswick. But nonetheless, um, folks, I here we are on on my time, it is actually the 14th of January. Actually, no, it's the 15th of January. Because on my guest side, it's the 14th. Because I'm an hour ahead. It is after midnight here. So, yeah. So for me, it's the 15th. For him, it's the 14th. He's just an hour catching up. But, folks, we have a return guest today. Somebody I've been looking forward to getting on here again because, well, I don't like what's going on in society today. And I love having somebody that comes on here and basically says, fuck society, and the bullshit that's going on right now. Yeah. Like, I don't care what people's doing in their private lives, don't infringe it on me. And my guest will definitely speak to that effect too. Folks, I give you the absolutely awesome Crippled Cody. How do you do, Cody?
Hey man, thanks for having me back on the show. I appreciate it.
No, I was talking to Rob Mahoney last night, and I told him I was having you back on, and he was like, told me to tell you hello.
Yeah, I love Rob. I don't know. Other people have different opinions of him, whatever. I stay out of the drama and
Mhm.
Rob's a great guy. He probably sends dick pics to random people, but I'm not one of them yet. So who knows? Who knows if that man can even get his dick hard these days? I don't know. I'll have to ask him. Man, that intro, it was a lot more strong than I remember from the last time. It sounds like you're a little bit more fed up with today's bullshit in society than last time. I take it we're
you,
gonna get into all that.
you know what? It's funny because here's something I'll bring up. I lost a job last year, a good paying job last year, back in April, because some motherfucking piece of shit decided to gaslight me. And it's one of those real nice click environments where everybody's got to be part of this or part of that.
Of course.
And my situation was I ended up having a crush on one of my coworkers, and people around started to talk. Now she had a boyfriend, but so I wasn't going to infringe on that. But she ended up because people were talking about me always hanging around her. She had the talk with me about it, and it put me into a little bit of a depression, but I certainly understood it. And I even talked to my manager, my boss there at the time about it.
Mhm.
And I could have been off on depression leave for a while, but nah, I don't get paid to be on leave, so I show up to work. So anyway, I made amends with her, and I hadn't seen her since February last year. And I wasn't going out of my way to bump into her. She was just on a different shift than me, but some piece of shit and one of the other departments decided to come in and tell me that she didn't want to be my friend anymore and that I should back up. And I'm sitting here thinking, who the fuck are you? Oh, I know who.
Obviously someone who wants to give her some dick.
Yeah, if he could get it up.
Yeah. Is he like really old?
No, no, he's a young guy, but I think, but the only thing he's going to be polluting is the cigarettes he smokes. But
Okay.
mhm. But nonetheless, I ended up having some words, and here's one thing I can't stand, and I've heard this from several people at that job. Well, Miss Wright is right around the corner. I've heard that my whole fucking life. I'm gonna be 52 in July, and I get tired of hearing about Miss Wright. So I said something I should not have said. I said, if I meet Miss Wright, I'm going to treat her as the same garbage I've been treated as. Now that got deemed as a threat, despite the fucking fact that Miss Right doesn't exist.
What? So you got fired because of your statement that if you met Miss Right, you would treat her like garbage, like you've been treated.
Yeah.
That was regarded as some sort of offensive threat.
Yeah.
Give me a fucking break. That's some Me Too half retarded bullshit. And you didn't even fucking say anything about anyone that
Nope.
exists at that job. Is there some lady there? And I use that term loosely, about as loose as most of their pussies. But is there some lady there named Right? Is her last name Right?
Nope. But I'll
Exactly.
tell you,
The
but
fuck.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. I spoke out of anger, and I'll tell you, I've never harmed a female. When you're angry, especially as angry as I was, you say stuff you regret saying. But I'll tell you one thing. Um, I've attended my third con with a Canadian actress, and I told her all about this, and her response was, because she's known me since 2017, she said, Greg, you had a bad day. Like we've ridden in a rental car to a con because I was assisting her at it, and she had feels no threat towards me. And what's
You mean
funny is
she feels no threat from you?
from me, yeah. And I've had at least three supervisors, all female from that job, who have told me that I got a raw deal.
How long were
And
you
they
working
said
there?
I was there for 13 months. I got 9 Bravos. I worked doubles, including an 18-hour shift, because when you get a 3-day weekend, and this has been interesting, 17 always seems to be the number. 17 people call in sick.
Mm-hmm.
And of course it's a 3-day weekend, so it's like, yeah, of course they're going to call in sick because they're really sick on a 3-day weekend, you know.
Of
I got a
course.
sore I got a sore throat right now. I can tell you, unless I'm really sick, I'm going to go to work tomorrow. But
Does hangovers qualify as being sick? Because that's what they were sick with,
yeah,
probably.
probably. So I find it funny because I got let go for that, and I was like, you know what? This could have been salvaged. You know, I mean, I had perfect attendance. So here's the kicker. I lost the grievance, so I'm going regional with it. But here's the kicker. They've got somebody working at that job who was found passed out drunk somewhere where she wasn't supposed to be passed out drunk.
But like a playground or something?
Nope.
Should I
Nope.
keep guessing?
Okay, fuck it. I mean, I'll just say it.
Yeah, just tell
Passed
me.
out drunk in a patient's room.
Oh, the fuck? And did
Yeah.
she lose her job?
No, she got to go to Alcoholics Anonymous and get her job back.
Of course, because that's a disease, and we need to treat that. We need to give them second hundred chances.
And plus, it's a female with kids, so
Oh, then that's a superhero right there. Just had
yeah,
a day.
yeah. I mean, remember, I'm white, so I'm public enemy number one. So, they also got somebody else is working there who's been
Wait,
high more than
wait.
once. Huh?
Was she black?
Nope.
Oh, she was white. Okay. She's probably sleeping with somebody there at the office. That's why she got another chance.
I
See,
don't
Greg,
know.
you just wasn't sucking enough dick to get a second chance at that job, Greg. That's all it was.
Yeah, well, but what I find funny, there was another fella there, an older fella, who got suspended for 2 weeks without pay. And I witnessed his situation. He was not at fault. In fact, I even brought it up to the manager and supervisor. This guy was suspended for 2 weeks without pay. and I was never called in to testify. So
What did he do? What happened with him?
I don't know. I think there was some. He was cleaning in a room, and somebody there was bringing up politics, and I guess they didn't like his stance. Like, I fucking care.
Oh, God
But
forbid.
well, this guy basically said that he didn't think all of the stuff Trump did was bad. Now, personally, I could care less who people vote for. I mean, we got a idiot in office here, so leading our country. So hey, but so but anyway, that ended up pouring out into one of the lounge areas, and I saw it, and I was like, why wasn't I called in? I drove by his place before Christmas, and there was a sold sign in front of his house, and I was like, wow, he lost his home.
Wow. Yeah, God, I mean, that's how it is. Like, for some reason, if you're conservative or leaning right in any type of way or anything like that, you say any decent thing about Trump or any of the Republicans, you're all of a sudden you're the villain, you're the enemy. And
Yeah,
it's sickening. People always ask me, which way do lean? And it's like I consider myself in the common sense center. So, like I can agree or disagree with certain aspects of both the left and the right. And like you just said, I don't have an emotional response in a negative way towards any of my friends who, because I have
yeah,
people in my life that's on the left and I have people in my life that's on the right, and I don't care. Just don't push it on to me.
yeah. But I got told, don't be talking about this. And I'm like, well, when I hear the other people that I never told this to from that workplace that know about this and are talking about it, I'm like, I didn't tell those people. So if they're going to talk about it and vilify me, then fuck 'em. I'll talk about it too. I'm
Right.
tired. I'm tired of the bullshit. Like, yeah, I made a mistake, you know, but if they're going to get rid of me for that, then fuck's sake. And that asshole friggin' antagonized me, so but
Still can't believe it, just randomly after, what was it, weeks after everything was done and over with you and this girl, then some rando came up to you and said, by the way, she doesn't want to be friends with you anymore. Like, is that how it happened?
yeah, and I got no doubt she probably said something to him, but I wasn't picking that up from her. But I
Oh.
hadn't seen her since February. I was fired at the end of April, so I'm like, I'm sorry. It's not like I'm going out of my way. So I think this guy was basically pining for. I think probably giving her a good ass fucking.
Oh, you think he was giving it to her in the shithole, huh?
Yeah, like I got no doubt he was playing for her, and you know what? He can have her.
How old is she?
She was in her late 20s.
Oh, fuck yeah. Greg, you got good taste in women. It was older men. We got to go after the youngins, right? The legal youngins. Let me clarify
Hmm.
that. The legal youngins. Yeah. My favorites are the 18 to 28-year olds. Send all of them my way. And if they're ugly, I'll just turn out the light. And if they have kids, then fuck off. You don't bring your kids over. Just leave me alone.
Well, that's the thing, and like I said, I'm going to fight this, and I'm probably going to lose. But if I lose, I'm going to give them a warning that they are not allowed to have me in there, even as for medical reasons, because technically this is my body, so I can prosecute if you know, yeah,
Was it a hospital job? Yeah, okay. So was this the same job that you had when the last time we did this? Because I
yep,
remember that you were working at a hospital.
yep,
Wow, and they fired you over this bullshit. There
yep.
just must have been just people there that just didn't like you, or she must have stretched the truth. And that's what women do sometimes. They sometimes will stretch the truth and make you out to be the villain if they just flat out don't like you because they don't got the guts to tell you themselves.
Well, I know working with her one night, she had mentioned she had 4 past boyfriends before the guy she's with now, and she seemed to know, with the exception of one of them, she seemed to know what they were up to, and I should have saw that as a red flag.
Yeah, why is she in their business if she's probably cheating on her current boyfriend with some of the exes or all of them. That's
Probably.
that's another thing these women do. I find it funny because you said earlier, you said, well, and she had a boyfriend, so I didn't want to infringe on that. And I was just thinking, that's the only motherfucking women I ever slept with was women that were in relationships at the time. I don't give a fuck. I don't. I'm
Mhm.
done giving a fuck about traditional because they're almost all of these relationships are gonna break up anyway. The people just seem to get bored. I don't care if it's the US, Canada, or almost anywhere else. Like, it seems like just people just don't want a traditional monogamous relationship anymore. Maybe some people do, but I think a lot of these women, especially these women, I think a lot of them don't. Because
Mhm.
I just said this saying to someone on the phone the other day, and I thought it was a well-known saying that everyone has heard by this point, but according to her, not. You ever heard that saying, a shoulder to cry on is a boner to ride on?
No.
Yeah, like, because it's true. That's the thing. Like all these women, as soon as you, the boyfriend, let's just play roles here for a second and say you had a girlfriend and you were the boyfriend and you did one small thing to upset her. How easy is it for her to just pick up her phone and just text her guy friend, for a shoulder to cry on? And that's the thing. Most of us guys are who are on that side of the fence. We don't want to just be the friend. We want to take advantage of that situation. I
Yep.
Out of all the female friends I've ever had, I can only think of, honest to God, like maybe two women that I've known in all of my years that has been monogamous and loyal, in a traditional kind of way. The rest of them just make up bullshit excuses of why it was okay for them to cheat. And it's like just fucking break up with them. Either that or just have the guts to tell each other from the get-go that, maybe an open relationship. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
not saying that someone who cheats doesn't necessarily deserve to be vilified, but if you're playing the role of, hey, I'm monogamous, I'm loyal, and I'll never be anything else but that for you, babe, like just have the fucking guts to tell your partner that you're bored or that you're uninterested or something. Just isn't that the whole point of a relationship other than sex is to be open and communicating and honest with each other?
Yeah, but, you know what? Like I said, this could have been salvaged, and I would have went to anger management, I would have done any of that stuff. But I guess if you're, drunk in a patient's room, you get to go to Alcoholic Anonymous and this and that, and but mine got deemed a fucking threat, so
That's so bullshit, man.
oh, yeah. Yeah, but I remember they were saying, "No, don't talk about this anywhere." Well, you shouldn't, fire somebody who's got a social media platform, and number 2, you shouldn't fire somebody who does conventions in Niagara Falls and Toronto.
Uh, did they have you sign anything?
Not that
Like,
I know of.
yeah, then no, they can't fucking tell you that you can't talk about this. They just don't want a bad reputation for their business area down there.
Well, they've already got a bad reputation, you know?
Yeah.
Like, when I hear stories about, people dying in, the, uh the waiting room,
Oh wow.
or sexual assault victims being turned away. I mean, I wasn't there for these, but they were certainly in the news, so I'm like, yeah, like, I'm not surprised. I think I know what, kind of people I'm dealing with here, very corrupt.
Well, maybe it's best you got out of there then.
Well, luckily, I had another job to fall back on, another cleaning job, and I've shared this situation with, several of the top people that not just at my cleaning job, but at some of the places I've cleaned at, and they've all said the same thing. You should never have been fired for that. A warning, yes, but not fired. But
Yeah. I
I wasn't part of the clique.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You were probably viewed as the odd weirdo that was expendable.
Well, one of the asshole there said that I'm replaceable, and I said no, I'm not. Perfect attendant. The only way I'm replaceable is if the person replacing me's got perfect attendance, uh, exceeds my 9 Bravos, will do all the double shifts that you throw at him or her, including the 18-hour shift. Will work holidays. Will work overnight. Will work in any unit. Yeah, no, I'm not replaceable. It's like fuck off with that, you know?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So, and they seem to have a big stick up their ass about the fact that I prefer Toronto over fucking New Brunswick. Well, yeah, because New Brunswick is going to be the biggest ass backwards province in Canada. Nobody knows what it is,
Ugh.
you know, nobody cares what it is. And Toronto is a lot more exciting and there's a lot more going on there. I mean, I had to go to Toronto to see some good movies like Poor Things, Dream Scenario, and Eileen. You know why? Because I don't care how many times they stick Marvels on the screen here. I'm not fucking interested in it.
Oh, excuse me.
Or Rachel Ziegler in her Hunger Games.
Yeah, I'm not interested in all the well, I mean, it's not that you know, I'm not saying that all that shit sucks. It's just it's not for me. Like right now in my life, these big budget AAA studio movies, I'm glad other people are enjoying them, but I'll stick with my low budget indie horror films.
Yeah. So that's what came down to with me. And I'll probably lose my regional and you know what? Fucking fine. But like I said, this is my body and I can put a halt on me being a patient there. So that's all I can say about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say you get into OnlyFans work, just start taking your clothes off for perverts and I don't know, playing with your
No
hairy butthole
thanks.
camera.
No thanks. Nobody wants to see this naked. It's bad enough my cat sees it occasionally. Although interestingly enough, one of my coworkers at that place does have an OnlyFans.
I'm not surprised.
Yep. I haven't gone on it, but I'm more than aware of it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I know this female. I mean, she's super attractive, and
Mhm.
she likes to sell pictures of her feet to random pervs on the internet, and she was trying to ask my opinions about certain pictures, and I was like, look, I can't give you good opinions because I'm not that type of person. Well, for one, I don't look at you in general like that, and for two, I'm not into that body part, so I can't give you good opinions one way or another.
Yeah. But one of the big reasons I wanted to have you back on here is because you're one of these people that fights against the system. I love the fact, for one, that you know you have an ailment that would be disastrous for some, but you don't look at it that way. You pick yourself up and you keep going, and I love your fucking attitude.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even just that it's not, I don't really view it like I'm picking myself up and carrying on. I've found positives in my situation years upon years ago, not just within the last 3 or 4 or 5 years that, over 10, 12 years ago is when I really started to, realize that like, hey, there's positives with being disabled. There's advantages. There's scenarios I can put myself in, to get the things that I want in life. And I realized over the last 7, 8 years, because of my situation, I'm gonna have guaranteed money on a monthly basis without having to have a job. I don't have to answer to an employer. I
Hmm.
don't have to, so therefore I don't have to watch my mouth. I don't have to worry about what politics I'm talking about or what opinions I have. I don't have to worry about who I'm offending. And, even though I'll do some podcasting stuff for, Rabbit and Red, I always told Mike, I'm doing it for him. And, like it's fun to do in the moment, but I don't want a fan base. If I had a fan base, I'd have to start being concerned about what I'm saying and if I'm offending someone. But I don't want that.
No.
If people like what I say, great. If they don't, they can lick my dick. I then I'll move on with my day, and they can too. I mean, think about this, Greg. What before podcast shows blew up? How many years ago, a decade ago, whatever. Before all that, who gave a fuck about what strangers' opinions were? You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like that's you're older than I am, so you definitely, and I did too. We grew up with this idea, this concept that only be worried about yourself. Love yourself for who you are, and fuck anyone who doesn't like your lifestyle, the way you live. And so I express my opinions. Still to this day, I'll post whatever the fuck I want. And if you've noticed, not too many people care to call me out on anything, or try to tell me to delete, because they know I'm not going to listen. So they know
Hmm.
it's dead air. You know what I mean? And that's what I've been telling all my friends for years. If you just stop letting people bully you into buying into their ideals of what's right and what's wrong, people will eventually leave you alone and let you be you.
Hmm.
Um, and that's what I've been preaching, and I practice what I preach. You see that.
Hmm.
I always post what I want. And I don't just poke fun at one group of people or one subject. I'm all over the place with what I'll talk about or what I'll post a meme about or anything like that. So I think the majority of my friends and acquaintances and people on my Facebook, I think the majority of them don't really feel attacked, because they know I'm gonna attack everyone else. My humor is like South Park. You know what I mean? They
Love
they,
South Park.
they get away with everything, you know. And oh boy, and here's the moment. We'll find out later on if you decide to bleep any of this or not, which hopefully you won't. I had a I had this black girl was working with me a few weeks ago. She was an amazing person to be around. She wasn't one of those I'm the victim and I deserve reparations and white people can't say this and say that. She was a down to earth black woman who just understood that we're all different, but let's all just be equal, and let's all treat each other with common courtesy and all that. So after a few days, she realized there was no hate in my heart. There was nothing like that and all that shit. And so we started having open conversations about just about anything. And the subject of South Park came up. And then we were also talking about that era of Comedy Central, the Chappelle show. And as of this recording, Dave Chappelle just came out with a brand new special on Netflix that I still haven't seen yet, but I'm going to here eventually.
Mhm.
And me and her were talking about South Park and Dave Chappelle. And first I brought up that Wheel of Fortune segment from South Park. You know which one I'm talking about?
Mhm.
Yeah, and I showed it to her, and she laughed. She didn't fucking care. She it was just humor. Um and then when we were talking about Chappelle show, and she asked me, she goes, what is your favorite skit that Chappelle show ever did? And I said, and I kind of snickered, and I was like, well, what is your favorite skit that Chappelle show ever did? And she just said without any hesitation, she goes, oh, the niggers. And I was like, I started laughing. I said, that's my favorite fucking skit that Dave Chappelle ever did. Have you ever seen that one?
Not that one, no, but I love Dave Chappelle.
Yeah. Well,
Just like just like Ricky Gervais, he just tells it like it is.
yeah, well, it's spelled Niggars, and it was a scene that was filmed in black and white as if it was from like the 1920s or something, and it was
Hmm.
about a rich family. They were just called the Niggers, and the scene was on this other family, their neighbors, and they were just talking shit about this family. Like, oh, we may be rich, but they're nigger rich, like that type of shit. And you can't get away with saying shit like that these days. And me and her were talking about that, and me and her were just both agreeing upon like how pathetic society is now and that's my point. Like, we as the human race in general, we naturally poke fun at each other. We naturally do it. I mean, the 60s, 70s, 80s,
Hmm.
90s, 2000s, and I would argue all the way up until the early or maybe mid 2010s, it was all a-okay to poke fun at each other. White
Yep.
people poked fun at black people. Black people still to this day openly poke fun at white people. God,
Hmm.
can't say nothing about that because they're up on their fucking pedestal apparently. But you can make fun of trans, you can make fun of crippled, which I like. Yeah, make fun of me. I make fun of myself. That's kind of the whole thing. That's why I started calling myself Crippled Cody, because how can I expect people to feel comfortable with me if I can't poke a little fun at myself? And if I
Hmm.
poke fun at myself, then that's going to naturally make other people comfortable being around me because they don't have
Yep.
to be on eggshells. And that's my whole point. Nowadays, especially after the fucking George Floyd thing happened in 2020, nowadays you can't say jack shit around black people about anything with to do with their culture, the way they act, talk, nothing. You can't make a comment, joke, reference, nothing. And I'm telling you, Greg, 10, maybe 20 years from now, it's going to have a long-term ill effect on society. I think that with the exception of how some policing was happening, with how some police was handling situations, I think for the most part throughout the last 20, 30 years, I don't think we had that much of a problem with racism. I really don't. I think you had a few knuckleheads here and there that was sincerely racist, but I think for the most part, we all just enjoy poking fun at each other. And I would argue that's not racism. That's just human beings being human beings.
Yep.
So I don't know. Like, it's something. I mean, right now, it's the tranny community. Like, we we're not allowed to say jack shit about the trannies. And you saw, like, I posted something just the other day that surprisingly got a few people to laugh at it. I was very surprised about that. It was that X-Men meme. Did you see?
I was going to bring that up because I'm
Yeah,
I'm on your Facebook page and it says X-Men as an EX dash men. And you know what? We are kind of going in that direction because now you have to have different nationalities and groups as part of your movie. And I was talking to a filmmaker about this, and she was saying, why not just get people that are capable of making your movie? Yep.
yeah, yeah. I can't remember how long ago I had this conversation, but not too long ago, I was just telling I think my friend Burley, we and her were talking about, because I watch most movies with her since she's still here taking care of me on a lot of days. Um every fucking movie and TV show has to have something gay or a trans in it. It's the alphabet propaganda is shoved down our throats almost every single movie and TV show. And it doesn't have to be that way. And again,
Nope.
it's wearing it out. It's making everybody tired of the bullshit. And again, just like what I was talking about, where you can't make racist jokes anymore, this is going to have a long-term negative effect on
Oh,
society.
you can make racist jokes against white men though. That seems to be okay.
Right,
And
right.
I'm sorry, but that if that gets pushed on me, there'll be repercussions.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't. I'm not afraid to admit, like, all races have problems. Like,
Yeah.
the white community, I think we're most notorious for perversion. Like, there's a lot of pedophiles, and there's a
Hmm.
lot of stupid shit like that. But here's the thing, Greg, you look at the ratio of the white community in America, which I think I should have looked this up before I did this, but I think we're somewhere around 67, 68% of America is white. I think I may be wrong about that, but I think I'm somewhere in the ballpark of that. It's like somewhere in the 60s. And the percentage of crime and disgusting perversion things that happen in the white community, it happens, but it's so very low compared to how the white community, the percentage of white people. But then you look at the black community. I believe they make up 17%, I think, here in America. And then you look at the crime rate in the black community, and not just in the black community, but in general, they are responsible. I'm sorry to say this, but it's true. They're responsible for almost half the crime, I believe, here in America. So I look at that factual information, and that's what I tell the people in my life. That's why I have no problem still to this day poking a little fun at the black community, because I'm sorry, they need to clean their act up before they expect the rest of us to treat them with pedestal treatment, like extra respect, extra privilege. I'm sorry, if black lives are supposed to matter to the rest of the world, to the rest of the country, black lives should first matter to black people. When that fucking starts happening, I'll start having more respect. You know what I mean?
Yep. Well, it's interesting because you can't say anything anymore. And what I find funny, I had some idiot who unfriended me on Facebook um, this morning, and he put a post. I do this a lot, and I shared this with Rob Mahoney. This guy asked what horror films you watch to cheer yourself up, and I'm sitting here, and his answer was Halloween 2, and I'm sitting here thinking, really, you watch Halloween 2 to cheer yourself up? I'm sorry, I question that. I mean, yes, I understand it's entertainment, suspension of belief and whatnot, but to cheer you up, you're getting entertained and cheering on a mass murderer. But anyway, I like to be funny, so I put the 40-year-old virgin. There's times I would put Showgirls or The Room or My Little Pony. This fucking piece of shit sent me a private message and said, "What did you mean by that answer? The 40-year-old virgin?"
You're poking
And
fun at yourself.
well, here's what I said to him. I said, "Look, um, I'm just being funny. Most times, whenever I put answers like that, I get met with a lot of laugh emojis because people don't take me serious." And I said, "It's not personal. I was just trying to be funny." His response, "I'm going to delete that comment." And I said, "Okay, delete me out of your group." And he put, "I will." And I'm like, here's the fucking problem with this dickhead. He was expecting everybody to put down all the franchise movies, and he wanted people to put answers down that he wanted to dictate. And I wasn't going to do that. So, so not only he didn't block me, so I blocked him. It's like I don't want to see that shithead and pop up in my timeline, but it's like you can't say anything. "Oh, I'm offended because you don't get cheered up." If you're getting cheered up by Michael Myers draining the blood out of a nurse and Halloween 2, or sticking a syringe in the side of a girl's head, I'm sorry. Yes, I get it. The special effects, the makeup's great and whatnot, but it's like, fuck off with that. Don't give me this. You're cheered up by it. Fuck's sake.
I would assume it's more so nostalgic value. That's probably what he means more so by it than anything else. But
Well, either way, I would love to punch him in the face. I think it would be fun, but either way, I blocked him. I was like, I don't need this prick on my Facebook page.
yeah,
So, yeah,
for
but
me, for me, it's Army of Darkness. That's still my favorite movie, and it's a more lighthearted
yeah,
horror
but
comedy.
that's also got a lot of comedy in it.
It's more so Three Stooges type of humor than
Now,
it's not.
don't get me wrong. I've got Halloween 2 here. It's not like I'm bagging on the movie, but if I want to watch something to cheer me up, it's not going to be Halloween 2. So,
Mhm.
so, but he didn't like. It's kind of like I had somebody I've interviewed here, somebody in my neck of the woods, and she put a question down. She said, "Where do you go to get your groceries?" And I put my answer. I put Toys R Us. Obviously, and I didn't get not one complaint about that. People thought it was funny, got a lot of laugh emojis. So I can't stand these people that are so up their ass, you know. And and if you put down the answer of a horror film that they're not familiar with or they don't hold the high regard, they have a problem with you. And I'm like, you
Well,
know what?
I think the whole problem is that, everyone thinks they can extend their personal bubble
Hmm?
to everywhere else and to everyone else, and that's the big problem, and that's the whole thing. Like, we all should be disagreeing from time to time. If we all agreed with each other, I think that would be toxic over time. I think that'd be boring too.
Yeah.
You know, especially if you're going to post on social media, you got to be prepared for someone to disagree with you.
Hmm.
And it happened. Like, that's the thing. I'm not afraid of that, so I'll post anything. And it's rare nowadays for people to. The only thing I can think of off the top of my head, several months ago, I posted a meme and it had a black joke in it, and I can't remember exactly what it said. It had a picture of a black guy painting a wall, and the text was something like, "Oh, you can't say in today's world black paint anymore. You have to say, Tyrone, can you please paint that wall?" Which, come on, it's just a lighthearted joke. And my one black friend, who I don't know in real life, I just play video games with him online, so I understand he didn't really get it. He just commented on it. He's like, "Cody, what are you doing?" And I didn't even address it with him privately. I replied to one of his comments, and I was like, "Look, it's just my dark sense of humor. Like, this today you saw me make a black joke, but tomorrow you'll see me make a joke about something completely different, like the trannies or my own crippled kind or something. You know what I mean? I told him, I said, don't take it personal. And he understood. And I'm still friends with him to this day. That was probably 4 or 5 months ago. So, yeah, sometimes just talking it out with people, sometimes that is the best route, because sometimes they're not trying to X you out. They're just trying to understand your perspective.
Well,
Just,
this guy wasn't trying to understand shit.
yeah.
Yeah. But you know what? It's interesting you mentioned South Park, you know, and and what it's pushing. I love that you know, they went after Meghan Markle and they went after I'll tell you a big problem going on here is situations with our prime minister. I'm going to say this right out. I'm hoping Pierre Poilievre wins the election because we need somebody in office that's going to straighten shit out here, and I'm hoping he can do it because Canada's become a joke. But nonetheless,
There's no guns in Canada, is there?
uh, I don't know. I don't have guns, but
But because, like, here in America, they like people are obsessed with guns. I think it's more of a far right thing. Like, I think the conservatives are like, "You don't go take my guns," that type of shit. So I think it's more so them. But generally speaking, like, people just are obsessed with guns, in this country, and I don't get it. I
no,
I kind of understand the idea of protecting yourself, but man, I don't know. I don't like guns, honestly.
yeah. But going back to South Park, boy, they took some hard swings at Kathleen Kennedy and the Star Wars thing, and I'm pretty sure you saw that. And Kathleen Kennedy can say whatever she wants to. She kind of asked for this.
Well, I'm not an avid viewer of South Park. I just kind of like, if something blows up, I'll watch it. Like, I watched the pandemic episode a few years ago. That was pretty funny. And then they just did the Panderverse episode on Paramount Plus. I did watch that one. I watched that one with my friend Berlia, who is black, and she thought it was just as funny as I did. So,
Hmm.
and I don't know. I mean, some people say South Park runs dry, and I
I
understand it.
don't think so.
I don't know. They've been around for how many fucking years at this point? I think they started in '97, and
Yep.
yeah, I remember those days when I was a kid, and VHS was still the big thing, and we had a
Hmm.
video store right down the road from where I lived. And looking back on it, it was just a marketing ploy. But the video store started telling customers, "Hey, these South Park videos are about to get banned from our store, so you better buy them up quick. And it worked, we all went down there and bought these. And these VHS tapes had like 2 episodes on each tape for like $50, maybe more. And it's like, wow, I can't looking back on that, I cannot believe we were buying VHS tapes with 1 or 2 episodes of a show on it for $50. And remember back in the 80s, VHS tapes of movies were going for like $90, at least here in the States. It's like, Jesus, what the fuck? And that's why people always complain nowadays about the cost of video games and shit. It's inflation for one, and for two, that's just how things are. Like things were worse in a lot of aspects back then than they are now. Like it's 50-50 in my opinion. Some things are worse nowadays, some things are better. It depends on what the subject is.
Well, let's look at it this way. They had, I guess, she was a documentary filmmaker or something, of some sort, come out, and then I guess she's going to be the Kathleen Kennedy announced her as turning Star Wars. I guess the Force is strong with women. And look, I got nothing against having women in a movie. Like fuck, I don't care. But they're gonna make a Ray movie, which I don't care. Fine, make a Ray movie. But this documentary filmmaker had the nerve to get up on stage and say that she loves to make men uncomfortable, you know. And I'm sitting here thinking, watch your fucking mouth, lady, because look what happened to the Marvels. You know,
Well, not only
men
that,
will.
but if that was swapped, if a man went up there and said, "I love to make women uncomfortable," then he'd be canceled, fired, and probably killed.
Well, what I find funny is when the Marvels came out, Brie Larson and company were complaining, saying, "Oh, misogynistic. The men didn't like the movie," and studies showed that it was white men were the only ones going to fucking see it. So I'm like, yeah, they just made themselves look fucking stupid by criticizing the only audience they had, white men, and that's who they were criticizing because the movie flopped. Well, what about the people that you're preaching to? Why didn't they go see it?
A lot of this started with the 2016 Ghostbusters reboot. That's
Hmm.
that's really when I really remember when things really started to get toxic. Like, oh God, all women, and it's like we hate that. I personally didn't like that movie, but it wasn't because it was starring all women. I thought that could have been interesting. But one, it was the actors that they chose. I didn't think any of them were funny. I don't think Melissa McCarthy's fat ass is funny. I didn't find any of the others funny. And for two, it was the type of humor that was in that movie. I mean, they had fucking fart jokes in that movie. They had a queef joke in that movie. It was just so, and all the men in the movie were made out to be one-dimensional misogynistic pigs. So it was just a very one-sided made movie. And so I disliked the movie obviously, but but when I heard about the idea, I was like, oh, that could be interesting. All women, like, why not? It worked with all men. We could get a different perspective and it could still be a good movie. But Ghostbusters has to be deadpan. That's what makes the original so fun. Is that the
Well, now they're getting young adults in there, and they're losing the fact that it part of the charm and joy of the original Ghostbusters is that you had 3 or 4 comedians in there doing this. And boy, they're fucking losing this and getting like your Stranger Things cast and people like that in there who aren't going to pull off what your Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis pulled off.
Yeah. This last one they came out with, Afterlife, it wasn't bad, but again,
No.
I didn't really like it though. It didn't really click with me. I don't I'm not a big fan of movies starring kids, to be honest with you. It's not that they were super annoying, but yeah, again, it really wasn't what I wanted. But business wise, I understand how it could make them a lot of money because that whole cast is young. They could make movies for God knows how many decades, so they could, because of that cast that they chose, they could potentially make Ghostbusters movies for the next 30, 40 years for all we fucking know, maybe
Mhm.
past our lifetimes, but I don't know. It is what it is. I wasn't offended. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I have my Ghostbusters franchise in my heart, and that was the stuff from the 80s,
Hmm.
early 90s, the cartoon series, the two movies, the video game that came out in 2009, and in some of the video games that came out when I was a kid too, like the one on Sega Genesis wasn't bad. So I understand. Like they have to turn it different to make a profit off of it from Gen Z and future generation. I get it. So I'm not offended by it. I got enough entertainment, you know. The
Well,
four,
what do you think about this filmmaker regarding Star Wars saying that she loves to make men uncomfortable and she aims to make men uncomfortable? Like, I mean, that's a dangerous thing to say, considering that Star Wars has always been a male-centered audience.
well, since they would say it at us if the tables were turned, I would say that's kind of sexist on her part.
Hmm.
Oh, I want to make men uncomfortable. Like, bitch, just shut up and make the movie, make the documentary, whatever. Like, that's the thing. Whatever is socially acceptable now people are just standing up and making all these weird statements, and it's like, who knows how that's going to age 20 years from now? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
things could change again in the future, and who knows. But listen, before I forget, I wanted to tell you and your audience about another documentary I just watched not too long ago. It's called The Fall of Minneapolis, and
Okay.
it's a documentary. I can't remember. It's definitely a conservative documentary, but the point is it shows the truth of all what happened with George Floyd back in 2020. I mean,
Okay.
it shows you factual information. It has a lot more perspective than what the disgusting far left narrative was at the time. I mean, at that time, you only seen the cell phone footage of what everyone was, thinking what was going on. But this documentary just shows it all. Shows what this guy was up to beforehand, his past crimes, his other interactions with police, and then the day that he died. I'm not going to sit here and say he was killed because I wholeheartedly believe he wasn't killed by that officer. He died of a drug overdose, and you'll see that if you watch the documentary. But they showed different angles of that moment where he was held down, and you could clearly see Chauvin's knee was on his goddamn shoulder blade, not the back of his neck. He did not suffocate that man whatsoever. If you can make the time, Greg, I'd love it if you watched it at the very least. Even if you don't have big time opinions about all that stuff that happened back then, it's an eye opening documentary for sure.
Okay. Yeah, send me the link to it.
All
I'll have
right.
to give it a watch. It's
Yep.
funny because it's hard. Like we got Justin Trudeau passing Bill C-11 here in Canada, about censorship, and I don't care for the media trying to censor me or anybody else, Our our rights are being shit on.
Yeah. Yep. And
But
I hate to say it, but I feel like that's more so, and anything can change at any point in time. But like, I think right now the far left is more at fault for censorship and all this bullshit than the right is at the moment.
mhm. Well, let's go back to South Park again for a minute because I love how they're not afraid to tackle current subjects. Now, again, I don't care what a person is, whether like I can get along with anybody. I don't care if they're trans. I don't care what color their skin is. You
Right.
know, I have no problem with that. But South Park came out with an episode that this hit the nail on the head. You know, they they're showing this character. They're showing these Olympic games, and they had this character named Strong Woman, and she's out there and she's being interviewed by this guy, and he says, "Well, this is the first year that there's going to be a trans woman, a trans athlete." And so, what do you think about that? And she goes, "Well, I think that's great that we're embracing this and blah 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 blah."
And then the
And he's,
Macho Man comes out.
"Yep.
Yep.
Oh, you saw it, did you?"
I mean, yeah, because that's one of those clips that goes viral. So yeah, I
I
see the
loved
clip.
it.
Yeah.
Now, I don't care how many people get fucking offended by that. The South Park people brought forth in that segment was 100% fucking true.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember the segment 100%, but I remember the message of it. And yeah, like, so what? They're poking fun at them. I remember another segment. It's from an older episode, probably like 10 years ago, but it was a segment where Cartman had to take a shit and he couldn't get into the male's bathroom, so he put a bow on and he went into the female's bathroom. And Wendy was like, in here, and he goes, "Get out of my way, Wendy! I gotta take a shit." And she said, "I identify as a female now," and all that shit. And
Yeah.
look, like just like you just said, I also can get along with absolutely anybody. I don't care. Like other disabled people, trans, white, black, women, it doesn't matter. Like I can be friends with anybody, but I draw the line when people push their bullshit onto me.
Yep.
And earlier I was talking about the blacks and how they deserve pedestal treatment, but now I want to kind of talk a little bit about like the tranny community. They like, hey, you want to change? You want to think you can change your gender and change your cosmetics about your body and put hormones or estrogen or whatever in your body? Go for it, but don't tell me what your fucking preferred pronouns are. That's just me here.
Yep.
I'm done with it. I went along with that for a little bit, and I made the personal guideline for myself that for this very small amount of people that I have in my life who are trans or identify as something different, I will do that for them when they are around. When you
Yep.
are around me, I will make you comfortable, and
Yep.
whatever you want to be, I will refer to you as when you're around. However, when you are not around, and if I'm talking about you, I shall use factual information to describe you. I
Hmm.
and that's and when you're describing somebody with factual information, it's not meant to be complimentary or insulting. It's just factual information. So if I had my trans female friend, if I was talking about him and just right there, I just referred to him as him, he and him. And I'm sorry, like at the end of the day, biological males who think they can become females, you're always going to be a biological male. Sorry to break that to you, but it's true. Same thing for women. You're stupid enough to think that you can be a male. It's good for you. Project out what you think you are on the inside, but that's your own personal fantasy. You can't force other people into your own fantasy. And that's what I have a problem with. I've had a couple of different conversations within the last year or so where we were talking about a mutual acquaintance, and
Hmm.
I know this person, I as their biological gender and who they really are, but then I'd get cut off mid sentence and no, Cody, you mean she, right? And I'm like, no, like, don't fucking do that to. He's not around right now. Don't push that shit onto me. Like there's no reason for that shit. So
Yep.
I call it the tranny verse. I'm not living in the tranny verse anymore. I'm living in reality. And Grant, it's all the money that's in it. There's
Yep.
millions of dollars, millions upon millions of dollars in the medical field for surgeons to transition these mentally ill people. There's a lot of money in the medication prescriptions and just everything that goes with it. I mean, I don't know how it is over there in Canada, but here in the States, now we have all the schools pushing this bullshit on to the students.
Yeah. That's a problem.
And I can't believe it. I can't like
Well,
it's
I never learned about sex until I was in eighth grade. I was 13 before I knew anything about sex. And now, like, I'm sorry, my folks would not want me learning about that stuff in kindergarten or whatever it is that they're introducing this stuff now.
I don't know what here where I live, I'm not sure exactly what age group and what grade that it's being pushed on them on. But yeah, when I was in high school and even when I did take sex ed, I was kind of disinterested. Like At that age, I just wanted to jerk off to some porn from time to time, but then just play video games and watch, my movies, TV shows, and all that. And maybe once in a while try to flirt with a girl, but I didn't care about how the anatomy worked and all that bullshit. I just didn't care. But yeah, I
No.
can't imagine. I can't even fathom what it'd be like to be back in my teenage years in high school and having teachers, principals, and all these professionals that you're supposed to be able to look up to, supposed to be able to feel comfortable with. I can't imagine having them come up to us and say, "Well, are you sure you're a boy? What if you wanted to be a girl? You can change that." I can't, what? I can't believe
Wow.
somebody. Yeah, I can't believe so many people have gone along with that bullshit. And here's the thing, I'm not religious. I'm not. I'm not a religious person. I don't have a problem with religious people. But again, same thing. Don't push it onto me.
Mhm.
I just like to live in reality. The reality of it is you can't actually change your gender. And anyone who thinks that they can, let them think that, but don't let them bully you into buying along into it. You
Yep.
say if you had someone who is like paranoid schizophrenic or someone that had Alzheimer's, or just, someone that had some other mental disease that where they were out of their mind. Do we as a society go along with that bullshit and say, yes, I can hear the voices too? I identify as I'm serious. Like, think about that.
Yeah.
We don't do that as a society. We
Nope.
don't we don't tell a paranoid schizophrenic, yes, I can hear your TV talking to me too. I have the same conversation. Like, we don't do that shit. That's insane. But yet
No.
we
Yeah.
look at transgender people and say, yes, you think you're a different gender on the inside, then I think that too for you. You know, let's think about it as one more scenario. If someone who was white dressed up in blackface and they were doing it in a very sincere, earnest kind of way, like, hey, I identify as black. Not very many people would go along with that. A lot
Nope.
of people would be offended and say, no, you're not fucking black. You're white. You cannot be black. You're white. So, but no, because there's all this money. I'm sorry for going off on a rant about this,
No,
but
go
because
for it.
all these millions of dollars here in the States going off about it, and all these grants and waiver programs and all this publicly funded bullshit. Yeah, you got an insane asylum here in the States, probably there in Canada too, where
Yeah.
all these fucking, oh my God. And then what else is there? There's non-binary. People think that they're not male or female. Get the
You
fuck
want to
out
hear
of
the
here.
dumbest one I heard recently?
Yeah, what's
I work as a cleaner, and my supervisor came up to me and she said to me, she goes, "You'll never believe what I just heard." And I said, "What?" And she said, I forget where the place was, but she said apparently they have a cat litter box out for somebody to shit in because they identify as a cat. And I'm like, I'm sorry, as a cleaner, I'm not cleaning that up. And any of these far left or whatever they are that uh, want to push that on me, I say, fuck you. I'm not cleaning that up. I cleaned up my cat's litter box. My cat. I'm not cleaning human shit out of a litter box. Nope.
yeah. It's complete insanity. Like, oh, you think your cat, you should be put into a padded rubber room. You know what I mean? You should be put into a mental hospital until we can get you better. If you think you're a cat and that it's socially acceptable that to shit in a litter box as a human being. It's just going too far, man. And it kind of goes back to what you were saying in the beginning of this episode about, how I've made pure positivity and happiness surrounding my life. It all started with me being younger and understanding that there was no changing who I was. There was no
I admire that about you. You have no idea, like you get up every day. Like I got lots I can complain about. Like I just went off about the job I lost early last year, and I'm still dealing with post-traumatic bullshit. I can't even drive by that place, you know, because I don't think it was right. And but what I like about you, many people would say you have it worse, but you really, I love your outlook on life, man.
I
Like,
appreciate that. No,
yeah, I
at the end
do.
of the day, I'm just sitting here on my fat ass collecting everybody else's hard-earned tax dollars. So how can I be in a bad mood? I'm a SSI recipient. I don't know if they have that program in Canada. Do you know what SSI is?
No.
It stands for supplemental security income, and the majority of the SSI program is funded by tax dollars. So
Okay.
it'll never ever run out. Like I mean anything's possible, but the SSI program is the least, it's not going to run out. Not in my lifetime, more than likely. It's not as much as I should be getting because the whole SSI program was meant to keep people like me out of poverty. It's meant to
Mhm.
keep disabled people and the elderly out of poverty that can't work. And back when it started, it was caught up correctly with inflation and all that. But now, 50 years later or whatever it is, uh, we're only at 76 or 77% of the poverty line. So, for an example, as of 2024, when we're recording this episode, I'm getting like 943 a month. But that's only 76, 77% of the poverty line. I should be getting an extra $300. So I should be getting close to like 1,200 a month if they were wanting to catch this program up to the 100% of the poverty line. So it's not perfect. I still have to I don't have to nickel and dime every activity in my life, but I do have to manage differently.
Yep.
I have to be a little bit more open-minded to TV dinners, to ramen noodles sometimes on some lunches. You know what I mean? Like, so I have to do stuff like that. But once you get in the groove of managing properly and you have a good setup from the month to month basis, it's doable. And I live in my own home. I own my own home now,
Hmm.
and I pay my property taxes, which is coming up here in just a month and a half. I pay all of my own bills. Like I pay everything in my own life, and I still am left over with a little bit of money to myself afterwards. So, I can't sit here and I've never envied able-bodied people with a lot of things, to be completely honest. The only thing I ever envied able-bodied people over was back before I figured out how to get pussy. That was it.
Hmm.
When I was younger, I was always jealous. Like, why are the girls talking to that guy, but not to me? And so that was the only thing back then. But then as I got older, I figured out how to talk to women. And,
Hmm.
as the years went on, I got myself into some situations where I got some girls to, jump on my teeny weeny cripple peony. And I honestly, like, now in my life, there's nothing that I want that I don't already have. I'm sorry, but I don't want a job. I already have guaranteed income. Why would I want a job? You know what I mean? I don't want to
Funny,
do
I can't get women to fuck me now, so and I'm able-bodied.
it. I think for me, it just came down to the luck of situations that I found myself in. Like, I have always been either blessed or lucky, depending on however you want to look at it, with a great circle of friends, acquaintances, and just people around me that I know and that, would help me out. I'll give you a quick little example. Scott, sorry. I'm not sure if I told this last year on last year's episode or not, but all the way back in 2017, I was with a home health agency that had a young girl. She was the scheduler there, and there was another RN, a registered nurse there. There was a guy that I went to high school with, so he was telling me that this girl was interested to know what it was like to have sex with a handicapped person. So I was like, well, fuck it, introduce me to her, and I can take over for the rest. And that was it. I got to know this girl. And back to what I was saying earlier about how my disability can be an advantage, I played the role of being the family friend. And her husband would look at me, and yeah, by the way, did I mention that she was married with children? Her kids were pretty much half retarded, by the way. She had a 5-year-old son that would just pull his pants down and take a shit right in the middle of the fucking floor.
Oh,
But
Jimmy.
now that was 2017, so now he's older. He probably identifies as a dog now, since he was shitting on the floor, and they probably go along with it too. But at the time, I met her husband, I met her family, and they just looked at me as this poor, oh, poor little handicapped dude. His head's on backwards of his body. He doesn't have hands or feet. He looks like something out of a horror movie from the 80s. I look like Belial from Basket Case, if you ever, seen that
Yep,
movie.
I've seen that. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, I look just like Belial sometimes, but so her husband looked at me as a non-threat. Oh, he's just a friend of the family. He's all of our friends. And then he started letting me spend the night over there with them, right? And then
Hmm.
not the first time because I had to get my bearings, I had to understand my surroundings, but after a couple of times of spending the night over there, yeah, he'd leave in the middle of the night, go to work, and I'd fuck around with his wife. Well, I had to wait till the retarded children went to bed, but I had, then after that, he went to work and his wife, my dick was all the way down that bitch's throat, right? And then I would wake up the next morning, he'd come home, he'd kiss her good morning or whatever, and I would just think like, yeah, does your wife's mouth taste a little different today, motherfucker? Is it
Oh my goodness.
taste of my baby gravy in there? Like, what's that taste like? But I'm gonna be honest with you, I had no remorse and I still have no shame for any of it. And honestly, Greg, no matter if it's disability or just social awkwardness or whatever the situation may be, sometimes you have to get a little selfish and ruthless to get what you want. That's what I learned a long time ago. And that's what started my whole, no, it's not a persona. It's me being myself. I speak my mind. I'm unfiltered. And because of that, the bad apples weed themselves out of my life. And
Yeah.
I've gotten everything I've ever wanted in life, for the most part. And when I was younger, I used to want a girlfriend when I was
Hmm.
younger, but
Yeah.
over the years, I've watched how relationships turn out. And I've also got stuck in my ways of enjoying being alone and enjoying having my space to myself and nobody touching my TV, my remotes, my computer, all that.
Hmm.
Now it's like, well, do I really want a girlfriend now? Like I kind of already know how to get pussy when I want it. I know how to
Yeah.
get my dick sucked when I want it. What do I need a relationship for? I don't feel lonely. I like being alone. So it just started, like I said, from the perception of, well, hey, there's no changing this. How can I turn this into a positive? And that's what I give the advice of to any of your viewers that's listening to this, just turn your negatives into a positive. It is possible. If it's possible for Belial from Basket Case, it is possible for everyone who is ever going to hear this episode.
Well, I would love to eventually get moved to Toronto because that's where I'd love to live. And that became an issue with my previous job too. It's funny because I would post something about Toronto on my Facebook page, and somebody from that job would post some comment like, "You're not stuck on this again, are you?" or something like that. And I'm like, I didn't put this on your page, like
Yeah.
what? Yeah, and my friend, one of my friends in Toronto said that she believes that Toronto was one of the reasons I got let go. And I can't
Boast about it.
pinpoint that, but I do believe that played into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, but Toronto's better than New Brunswick. I don't give a shit whether they like that or not.
Well,
You
there's
know,
probably there's probably better pussy in Toronto too.
I wouldn't doubt that.
Go get
'Cause
it.
I've certainly not had a lot of luck here, I'll tell you that. You know, fuck,
Yeah.
because I mean, I would have backed away from that girl at work, I just needed time to fucking heal. But nope, somebody had to interfere in that. But you have a thing on Facebook here, and again, I agree with this comment too. Says I got a bunch of pictures on here. Says, remember, kids, this is what happens when you celebrate mental illness instead of treating it.
I remember that meme. And
Yep,
then it showed a bunch of pictures of those biological males thinking that they're girls.
yep,
I'm actually surprised that one didn't piss anyone off because that one was a little bit more on the harsh side. It didn't have a joke in it, but I posted it anyway. And I have a trans friend. I don't know if I said that earlier, but I have a very close friend who is trans and he sees all those posts. Now he doesn't he doesn't hit the like button on those posts. He doesn't laugh at them or comment on, because I can already predict what stuff like that, who's not going to pay attention to it, right? But he
Yeah.
doesn't throw a fit about it. He doesn't. He knows I'm not being hateful. I'm just having an opinion. So
And you got another thing on here too. I can't stand the fucking race swapping bullshit going on in movies today. You got on here Disney remake, original cartoon, live action remake. You got Tinkerbell, and of course, you get Tinkerbell in the live action, of course, is a black woman. You got Ariel from Little Mermaid, and then you got, of course, the live action remake of uh, a black woman playing the part. Well, I love the third picture from Tarzan, the cartoon of Tarzan. And then you got on there, it says, "Go on, Disney. I dare you to make a movie about a black man living in the jungle and raised by apes."
yeah, they won't.
Yeah, yeah.
I race. I mean, that's a whole nother subject that sometimes I've been in heated discussions with people about. My whole thing is just give us original characters of all races, of all kinds, and if they're relatable, they're relatable. Like if you just see me posted a few weeks ago, I posted the teaser trailer from the upcoming the new Beverly Hills Cop movie with Eddie Murphy in it. I cannot wait to watch that movie. I'm gonna have to be
Okay, let's talk about that for a minute because Eddie Murphy is a prime example of somebody who's a black male, and we never think about that because he's so entertaining. Do you realize that originally Beverly Hills Cop was supposed to be starring Sylvester Stallone?
No, I must have either forgotten about that or didn't ever know about that.
That was supposed to be Sylvester Stallone. Instead, Stallone went off and made Cobra. So Cobra was supposed to be Beverly Hills Cop.
It wouldn't
Stallone
have
made
been. No,
Stallone made Cobra.
wouldn't
Oh,
have been
what's interesting is having Eddie Murphy come in there does not, number one, doesn't take anything away from Stallone, but at the same token, we look at Eddie Murphy and he's so fucking entertaining. And I'll give you another great example. 48 Hours. You got Nick Nolte and Eddie Murphy. I guarantee you, when that movie was being made, Eddie Murphy was just coming off a very successful streak on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
They knew they could make money with him, so they brought him in. 48 Hours. It didn't matter. It didn't take anything away from Nick Nolte. It wasn't about him being black. It was just, this guy's fucking funny. And I'm going to take this a step further. I think Eddie Murphy's version of the Nutty Professor is way better than the Jerry Lewis version for several reasons. Yeah.
Uh, you know, and when I was telling you earlier about how I was talking to that one of the black nurses that was working here, and I realized she was a down to earth person. That was another example we were talking about the Nutty Professor movies. Those movies could not be made the way that they are made if they couldn't be made like that today, because those movies were making fun of fat people. That's another thing you can't do. You can't fat shame.
Well,
Can't make
here's the
fun of fat people.
funny thing is that the Jerry Lewis version didn't have that. It was just him being nerdy and strikes up this potion. He goes out. He's a man about town. And he gets these girls. Here's the problem. I could not. I relate to Jerry Lewis's professor. I don't understand why he was hired. He'd go into the principal's office there, and he'd have shit falling out of his pocket and shit like that. And I was like, why is he hired? Whereas with Eddie Murphy, Sherman Klump, you can understand why he was hired. You could see a guy that was great at his craft. And I don't know why they made him overweight, but I'll tell you, it number one, visually, the Rick Baker effects were fantastic, especially when you got Eddie Murphy all around that table playing different
Yeah,
roles. But the other thing too, I think having him overweight weight added a whole other level of
of sympathy. Sympathy.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So I found myself preferring that over the Jerry Lewis version, you know?
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even know that there was any other version of the Nutty Professor outside of Eddie Murphy's movies.
Yeah, Jerry Lewis did the Nutty Professor in the I think it was 1963, and
Oh,
I've seen it once. I got nothing against Jerry Lewis personally, but when I look at the two professors, I'm like, I don't know why anybody would hire his professor. He just came off as an idiot. Whereas Murphy, I can see why he was hired. Like I can see why his students liked him. He had some problems, but he was a three-dimensional, very likable character. I think it's one of the best roles Eddie Murphy's had.
Eddie Murphy's a goddamn legend. Like
Hmm.
anyone knows that. Like, if you like action movies, comedy movies, just anything, like he's
Hmm.
the man. And yeah, it's not his race isn't a negative factor. It's not a factor in most of his films. My favorite movie that he's ever done so far is Life. And
I saw that in the theater.
I love it. I love that movie because it's yes, it's not as funny as some of his other movies, and it doesn't have all the funny one-liners and all that, but it has such a rich and great story, and it has a great ending. Like
Yep.
it. By the time that movie's over, you're in a good fucking mood, seeing how everything turned out. And damn it, I love that. That's one of those movies I'll watch from time to time. To put me in a great mood. Honestly,
That came out the same year as Bowfinger. Again, Steve Martin, Eddie Murphy, had nothing to do with Eddie Murphy being black. It's just like you got two comedic geniuses in this fucking movie, and it worked beautifully. Eddie Murphy was never about race, when he was casted. They saw talent and they brought him in.
throughout the years, to me, I mean, you might have a different perspective on this, but to me, diversity is not a bad thing. But the whole
Nope.
point of diversity is that it's an occasional diverse thing. I remember going to the theaters and watching Bride of Chucky, and there's a gay
Uh-huh.
guy in Bride of Chucky.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't care. I didn't
Nope.
care. It didn't bother me because it was like an occasional thing. And had things stayed like that, I still to this day wouldn't be bothered by it. I've been watching American Horror Story since the very first season. And
Mm-hmm.
I'd say for the first 3, 4, maybe even 5 seasons, I didn't really care that there was, gay shit going on, here and there in those seasons. But then after a while, it's like, holy shit, this is shoehorned into the entire show. It's shoehorned into every episode, every season. And then I realized like it's part of the narrative. And I'll still watch that show, but it's like, come on, do we always need some faggot shit happening in every fucking episode? And like Chucky, back to Chucky, I love the TV show to a certain extent, but I'm like, my God, do we need to watch interracial gay teenage boys humping each other and making out? Like you can get across the romance, I think, in a classier way than what they're doing. And I think the show could still be viable without the gay aspect, but that's what they're doing. They're putting the gay aspect in it to, capitalize on the times. And the creator of Chucky, what's his name? Don Mancini. I think he's gay. So I can kind of give it a pass because, like, okay, Mancini, he is homosexual, and I can imagine he's feeling great these days being able to put his true storytelling into his shows. So really can't be mad about it. I about that show, I mean specifically because I'm watching it, so I'm a part of the viewership and all that. But yeah, half the time me and Burley are looking over at each other like, do they need to have this in there? Like, we don't need to see these two boys fucking humping each other. Like, what the fuck? But yeah, if they would have tried that shit 20, 30 years ago, that show would have been banned off television. You know what I mean? Like the times change and things become outdated and fuck, I don't know. Like I'm just not I'm annoyed right now with how things are at the moment with like I said the
Well,
Trinity.
I put a statement on Facebook about a month ago, and I lost four friends on Facebook. I don't know who I lost, but I guarantee you there was not one of those people I lost that actually read into what I was really saying. Um, Okay, I am really, really hoping that Emma Stone wins her second Academy Award for Poor Things, and she does a brilliant job in that movie, you know? And I saw an article online that pissed me off. They're saying that uh because Emma Stone's prime competition is Lily Gladstone from Killers of the Flower Moon. And they're saying if she wins the Oscar, it'll be the first time what is it, an indigenous female or something like that. I forget what they put, but won the Oscar. Now I put a thing on Facebook and I
Did they
said,
call her? Did they call her androgynous? Is that what the word that they
I
used?
don't know. I don't remember. It was a month ago, but here's the thing. I put a comment down and I said, is Lily Gladstone being nominated for Best Actress because her performance was good? Or is she being nominated because she's indigenous? And there is a difference. And because I said that, I lost 4 people on fucking Facebook who basically thought I was being a racist when really I'm fucking not.
Yeah,
But
there's nothing wrong with calling shit out. I don't think, it's like that. What's that guy's name? Thinks he's a woman, that Dylan Mulvaney or something like that. Is he the one that did he win? Who was it that won Woman of the Year? And he wasn't even a fucking woman. Was that him? I can't remember, but you know what
no,
I'm talking about.
I don't know. Was it Caitlyn Jenner? I don't know.
No, it must have been just something that was newsworthy here in the States, but I think it just happened a few months ago. Yes, they were doing some sort of award thing, and a fucking tranny won the award for Woman of the Year, and it was a guy. And it's like, get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. Trans women should not be in women's sports. Trans women to a certain point shouldn't be going into the women's bathroom. It's like, okay, if a trans woman is fully transformed and she had the surgery and all that and she looks convincing as a woman or whatever, then maybe okay, I can open up my mind, like, okay, fine, use the woman's bathroom, you're probably safer in there anyway.
Hmm.
um but someone who has a beard and just has colored long hair and I identify as a woman, no, dude, get your ass in the male's bathroom.
Where's my kitty?
Yeah. Is your kitty
Skittles.
is Skittles transgender?
No, Skittles is a male. He identifies as male. He identifies as a kitty, and he identifies as needing treats constantly.
What if Skittles identifies as M&M's though?
Skittles, are you identifying as M&Ms? What color? Skittles, you don't have any color though.
Yeah.
You're just black and
Yeah.
white. That's not going to work, kitty. You just got a
Well,
little bit of pink on your nose.
you should have just called him like Milky Way or something since he's only black.
Actually, that was his name when I got him.
Milky Way? Really?
No, Skittles.
Oh, Skittles. Okay.
Yeah, that was his name when I got him.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So
Yeah.
you adopted him.
Yep, I adopted Skittles. He's my buddy.
Yeah, that's
Um,
good.
yeah,
That's,
he's my buddy. He loves me even when the girls don't.
dude, fuck it. Like, I've seen
But
men get destroyed by women emotionally.
but
That
I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you this though. And I don't care what the fucking hospital says. Fuck them. There are women in my life I hold at a high regard. You know, my supervisor is a female, treats me very well. My supervisor before that, when she worked at the job, she's been in my car with me. Like I took her to get her groceries the other day because she didn't have a way there and she asked if I'd take her to get her groceries. And I said, sure. She doesn't feel one bit threatened. Um, when I go to Toronto, I have a friend in the industry who I do the conventions with. And if she's not doing the conventions, I still meet up with her and, we have dinner and whatnot. And I have come to appreciate women so much more just from being around her. than being around some of these shitheads at my former job that thought they were so above me, you know? Oh yeah, the ones that said, "Oh, you could be replaced." No, not with the amount of work I put in. No, I can't be fucking replaced. Nope. But there are some great women in my life. They're not sleeping with me and they don't have to. But they took something I said, and I agree, I should not have said it. But they took something I said and used it against me. And I guarantee you they got a fucking a lot more problems than anything I said going on there. You know,
Yeah.
when I witness a guy that's lost his house, was suspended for 2 weeks without pay, when I'm not called in as a witness, I'm sorry, but there's something fucking up with that. Again, this was a white male too. Yes, I'm going to bring that into it.
Yeah, good. You
Yep.
should. That was my point earlier. Like this kind of stuff needs to be talked about more, and more people need to not be bullied and to
Well,
just
you they
talk
got upset with me last year because I interviewed Raymond Fletcher, who's the author of the Cuckold Bible, and they didn't
called
like the. Yeah,
the Cuckold Bible.
yeah,
What's that
and
about? Is that
it's
just about a
about
bunch of white dudes having to be forced to watch big black guys fuck their wives? That's what the
not
Cuckold.
necessarily black, but I interviewed him because I'm not in the lifestyle. I'm just fucking curious about the mindset, and I said to him, I said, I think I was listening to Howard Stern interview a stripper or something, and she was talking about Howard Stern. I think asked about her boyfriend or whatnot, and she was like, "No, no, he's fine with it." And I really was fascinated with that that view. And so I had this guy on to talk about cuckolding because I found it fascinating. I don't do it,
Well,
but it don't matter.
you'd have to have a girlfriend first to do it.
Well, my thing was is I wanted to get this guy on here and just talk about it. You know, it's not a matter of whether I agree with it or disagree. But people at my work shit on me for that too. And I'm like, fuck you guys. Fuck you guys.
Maybe
Number
that's
one,
part of the whole reason that they didn't want you there no more, because like you have a voice on social media, like you're a podcaster.
well, personally, I think that guy wanted to fuck that girl. And
Uh,
quite frankly, he can have her. And I also believe in karma, and I believe that he will meet his, you know,
mm-hmm.
same with her. And I know there's people working there that wish they were able to call me right now to come in and fill a shift in because you get too many numbskulls there. But they also have to hire people of, again, the diversity thing because government pays part of the wages for some of these people. So I'm like, wow, yeah,
That's how it is there, the government, because
yep.
I don't think that's how it is here. Maybe I just haven't heard of that yet. I don't know.
Well, remember, they let me and some other guy go, and we're both white males. So I'm starting to see a trend here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
I don't doubt
none-
it.
nonetheless, I there's a lot of great women in my life, and I'm happy to say that they don't feel threatened by me. You know, Nancy McLaughlin from Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives, called me the other night. You know, and we
What
just
character does
chatted.
she play?
She was the one in the puddle that got speared in the mouth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. The beginning.
she's been on my show a number of times. I've never met her in person, but we both belong to the Christian faith, and so we communicate with each other, and we uh, sh- share our views and this and that. And but again, I don't push my views on other people either. But still, she called me the other night and she was just out walking her dog and just thought she'd give me a call. she knows I'm not a threat, and she hasn't even personally met me. There's a
Right.
lot of women who can stand up by me and say, you know what, Greg is not a threat. He might have said something out of anger that he shouldn't have said, but he's not a threat. And quite frankly, the fact that they would allow that fucking cocksucker off the hook for irritating me, I haven't seen him since, and there's a reason why. He knows better than to get too close to me.
Greg, have you ever been in a fight before? An actual fight?
Yeah.
I feel like I asked you this on the last episode, but yeah, that'd be funny to see you in a fight. How tall are you?
6 foot and half an inch.
Oh, so you could kick someone's ass, at least back in the day.
You got to remember something though. I'm not afraid of people. I used to get bullied all the time when I was in school until something happened. I was at the Frex grounds here where they have all the rides and stuff like that, and there was a reptile farm there, and I got my picture taken with a 12-foot Burmese python draped over my neck, and that thing was heavy as fuck. But I got my picture taken with it, and when I went back to school, I showed that picture around and told people that was my snake.
Then they didn't fuck with you after that.
Nope. But I'll tell you one thing, I learned through that situation not to be afraid of people. Because that snake wasn't going to bother me. I mean, he was trying to get back into his enclosure, but he wasn't trying to strangle me or anything like that. But it could easily kill a human being if it wanted to. Or I had it draped over my shoulder. So I'm not really afraid of people.
And just to think, like, that's something you probably couldn't do in today's world. Get a picture taken with a python around your neck. Probably can't do that now.
Oh, I could do it. I'd have no problem doing it.
No, I mean, like, professionals probably wouldn't let that happen now.
They probably won't let you have a big snake draped over you. They probably have the handler there holding it. I've been in
Yeah,
those situations, but quite frankly, it didn't bother me.
yeah,
Um, yeah, but I mean, it's not like I've handled poisonous snakes or anything like that, but that's one thing I learned through that situation. I don't like to fight, but I don't like being irritated either, and I think I got pushed out of that job, you know,
yeah.
because I didn't meet the click quota.
And you're white.
Yep, I believe that. I totally believe that. But I'll tell you one thing, I watch a lot of animal life videos and I've learned a lot about how to deal with assholes. I know I put a post on Facebook, uh, and then anybody that knows me knows what I'm really saying. But it was a picture of an African elephant, and my caption read, "The lion pride is going to part." Basically meaning, you know what? You guys aren't going to stop me, as I know there's not one of them that will say shit to my fucking face. Like when I get told, don't talk about this. Well, when I hear that somebody that had nothing to do with it is speaking about me being fired, then I'm sorry. It's already being spoke of. So it's like, fuck you people.
Yeah,
Ah,
exactly.
I mean, it works both ways. You want to talk smack about me, then I have no problem talking publicly about it.
And when they fired you and they said the whole, don't talk about it, you should have said right then and there, what fucking business of it is it yours? And now that I'm fired from the company, what I decide to talk about. Should have said that to them right to their face.
Hmm? Another picture I put on there was a picture of a Cape buffalo, which is one animal they've never domesticated in Africa. And again, same caption. Back away, lion pride. The person that hired me for that job sent me a friend's request one day. And I added him because I've had a few people from there who've expressed the fact that they felt I was wronged. So I added him because I wanted to hear if he was going to say anything. About a week later, I was down one friend on Facebook, and it didn't take me long to figure out who it was. So he was on there basically trying to dig up shit about me.
Wow.
And he could say, "Well, you added me." Yep. But you're still a fucking creep, you know?
Yeah, that's kind of low to do that.
Yep. Yep. So, I mean, I'll
He
talk
doesn't have
about,
anything better to do with his life. He had to do that to spy on you. What the fuck?
yeah, like, and that was right around the time that the other guy was fired too. So, like I said, I didn't have a leg to stand on in that, but I look at them like a bunch of poachers, and they can fire all the bullets at me they want to. I'm still standing. And I know if I turn my attention to them and charge like the elephant, like the Cape Buffalo, they're not going to stand in my way.
Do it.
That's what that post was all about.
Go find them and piss down their fucking throats.
I don't. I know where to find them. I don't need to go there and piss down their throat. You know, like I just have to look at the reviews to that place online, and I'm like, yeah, yeah, the reviews are not positive. So,
Right.
yeah,
Oh
but
fuck. You'll get a
yeah,
better job. You already have a job, right?
yeah, I work a cleaning job, and my female supervisor had said to me, she said the hospital's loss is their gain because they call me a lot, you know. So, yep,
Good.
yep. But nonetheless, I want to come back down this list here on your Facebook and see if there's anything else that the best surprise a husband can receive. Oh my shit.
Oh, did you not see that one?
Never seen that one before.
You know what you should do when you edit all this together and you post this, you should edit in the memes and put them up on the screen while we're talking about them. Are you able to do that?
I don't know anything about how to do that.
Oh, okay.
Oh
Yeah,
my
that
goodness.
was the best surprise a husband can receive, and it shows a little black baby on the inside of a white woman, and the husband's white too. Yeah, I'd be
Yeah.
pretty fuck. I'd leave the bitch. That's what I would
Mhm.
do. Not
Um,
because it's black, but because like, bitch, you cheated on me. Like the fuck.
and you get another one, her at 3 a.m. You want to come over? You at 3 a.m. Damn. Oh my goodness.
Well, and some context that because there was nut all over the guy's hand. He already jerked off after
Yep.
she reached out to him. That's happened to me before.
Yeah.
I'm serious. I've just busted a good ass nut, and then 10, 15, 20 minutes later, then a bitch will call up and say, "Can I come over?" And it's like, bitch, I already got off. Like, I'll see you another day.
Oh my goodness. Oh, frig, this one's hilarious. Says, ah, yes, the two genders. It has men and it has kitchen. Oh,
Yeah. Get that woman back in the kitchen. Make me a sandwich.
I can't cook for shit. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You you
I can't.
enjoy ramen noodles, Greg?
You know what? I just stick stuff in the microwave and, something like I don't get into too much of that. Oh my goodness. The therapist. How is the relationship with your dad? Kid. He tags me in memes. Therapist. What a nice relationship. Kid. The memes are always about pulling out. Oh,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. I don't know. That some guys get trapped into the fatherhood, and it's like, man, That's what I always tell my female friends. Don't assume he wants kids just because he's saying what you want to hear. You know, the honeymoon phase. You know what I mean? Like, wait a couple of years, get to know each other a couple of years before you try to have kids or marriage or anything like that. And that's the best thing to do.
Oh, I love this one. How bad do things have to be for both of these to be in town? It shows a gas station with the Ghostbusters vehicle and the Scooby Doo van.
Yeah, you have to be
Oh, I
pretty.
love that. Where do you come up with this stuff?
Um, I added myself to a bunch of different like meme groups, you know, specifically offensive like meme groups. And then
Uh-huh.
on Facebook, you have an option to just click like groups feed. So then that's what I do every so often when I'm running out of memes. I just look at a feed and scroll through it with just showing just my groups that I'm a part of, and then I get to see all the memes, and I just copy and paste the ones that I like, and I'll post them. Anything that I don't think or I know that I can't post, I just won't save to my computer because it's like, why save it if I can't, post it? But and then another thing is like a lot of what you see now is direct political memes, you know, geared towards the left or the right. A lot of that I don't like. You know, it has to be something that's funny to me. You know, it can't just be a Donald Trump joke or a sleepy Joe Biden joke or anything like that. It has to have some sort of topic that I would talk about like in real life. So,
There's a photo of a bunch of women standing back, claddly dressed, with their arms crossed, and says strippers waiting for EMS to untangle the new girl's balls from the pole.
yeah. Because that's that's one of the subjects that's always on my mind. Like, you know, these fucking trannies, they want to be a part of everything now that women do. And it's like, sit your fucking biological male ass down. Shut up.
Oh my fucking goodness. Some of these are so friggin' hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. No,
And there's
and
hardly none, if you noticed, there's hardly none of them with no reactions whatsoever. I like a lot of my friends on my friends list, some of them are reacting, some of them are comment a lot, you know what I mean? Like there's hardly any of my memes where it was just ignored altogether, you know? Maybe a couple here and there.
I love this one, boss. You're fired. Me. Pauses a Serbian film. Why?
Have you seen
Oh,
the film?
I have not. No, I have not. Now I have met Ashley C. Williams and had her on the show from the Human Centipede. But I haven't even seen that film, you know. But
Will you not watch extreme horror cinema like that?
I don't get anything out of it,
Oh,
you know. Like I don't get anything out of it.
I love horror. I love.
I love horror too, but when I watch a horror film, I don't like to be grossed out if I could avoid it. You
Oh,
know, I like to be able to watch if, and that's not to say I can't handle gore. Sure I can, but I like to be able to watch a horror film and feel the suspense, feel the tense, you know, and stuff like that. You know, I'm not big on like the hostile films and you know, I don't need to see somebody's dick cut off in front of the camera. It's like I don't need to see that. But you know, that's just me, but
have you
some
seen the 2009 My Bloody Valentine movie?
yeah, it's not badly made. I still prefer the original, but
I mean, I'm not like there's nothing I don't like love that movie or anything, but the one scene in that movie I think is fucking fantastic is the hotel scene where
uh-huh.
that guy's fucking that naked girl, and God bless her, she it was completely naked in that fucking movie. And that whole scene is absolutely drop dead hilarious. Like, you know, he's filming it, and then what the fuck are you doing? Give me that tape. And then she fucking chases after him naked with a gun out in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And then he gets killed. She runs back in. She's getting chased by the miner. and then she's under the bed, and this fucking midget comes up out of nowhere. Stop hiding from Anna. And it's like, what the fuck were they thinking when they made that scene? That whole scene. That I like. They play it on Pluto. That movie every so often. They come.
I've seen it. I've interviewed Ali Nudi from the original My Bloody Valentine. She was the one that got her back of her head got inserted onto that pipe thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's awesome. I love this picture. The guy has his hands over this woman's eyes and he says, I have a surprise for you. And of course, the bottom picture shows fucking sink full of dirty dishes.
Yeah, get that bitch to clean.
Oh,
That's some
gee.
of my favorite stuff. Like, people sometimes my friends think that I just want to post memes that just make fun of blacks or trannies. I love other jokes, and sexist jokes are funny to me too. I don't care if they're black or white women, I'll make fun of all of them.
Oh my goodness. This stuff is hilarious. Oh, you got Margot Robbie's Barbie reviews are in. Oh my goodness. I gotta read the number one. I think she is fucking hot. It says, what does it say here? It says, your dad. It says I would suck her dad's cock just so that I could taste the recipe. Your dad. Okay. And then we got quote as I drag my freshly shaved bullocks over broken glass and
Just to
stinging.
hear her fart through a walkie fucking talkie. That was that one.
Yeah, and it says, let me see, put my
Yeah, put
glasses
your
on.
glasses on.
Your kid's PE teacher. It sounds like the one from Mean Girls. And then I crawl over a mile of barbed wire and dirty needles just to tenderly place a cocktail umbrella in one of her freshly laid turds. He next door, but one. I like Margot Robbie, but I've never. Did you see Barbie?
No, no. I don't know if I'll sit down and watch it or not. I don't know, because I think it's on one of the services that I have, thanks to Mike. It's either is it on Max? Is it on maybe Peacock? I don't know, but it's on one of them, and I thought about watching it like just to see if it's entertaining whatsoever, but I don't know if I'll get to it. I don't know. I haven't
To
even
me,
watched Five Nights at Freddy's yet, and I don't even know if I'm
I
interested.
saw that in Toronto.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know. I never played
but
the video game, so I don't know if I.
I haven't either. But I'll say this though, Emma Stone and Margot Robbie are currently my two crushes in Hollywood, so and Margot looked damn good in Barbie, I gotta say that. I like this one. Get you a man who will never lay a finger on you or walk out on your life. God, guy's got no limbs.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
goodness.
I approve of most of the posts that I've posted. They have to be funny. If they don't make me laugh, I don't think they're gonna make my friends laugh. So I don't post
Now
them.
this one here's got Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst from Spider-Man. This, oh, so you're into pronouns? Let let me she them titties.
She
You got
slash them titties. Yeah,
oh shit, and the look on Kirsten Dunst's face.
yeah. That's a good one.
Holy shit. Mommy, where do babies come from? Well, when two people hate themselves and want to never have fun again or achieve their dreams.
Which is the truth. It is the
Yep.
truth. Once you have a kid, you can't fucking do anything in life anymore unless you're super rich and you have you know what I mean? Like maybe some people can, but most people cannot do anything except be a parent once you have a kid.
And then you got one here. Who is the smart one? You got Laura and Larry. Laura says 4-year degree for a job in a saturated market, 150K in debt, no job, thinks people who don't go to a 4-year college are stupid. Larry, went to 1 year tech school for a job in high demand, debt free in 2 years, makes 80K a year. Bought Laura a drink Saturday night, fucked the shit out of her, and never called her again. Oh, I love the payoff on that one.
Yeah. That's what I always tell my guy friends. Have the hit it and forget it mindset. Don't be trying to get in anything serious with these women. It's not going to work out.
How America views itself, how the rest of the world views America. McDonald's. Oh shit. Oh my goodness. All them gory horror movies. Yeah, they're not trash, they're art. Of course, Art the Clown. I've interviewed David Howard Thornton, and I met him at Frightmare in the Falls. Pretty chill guy.
Yeah, I met him too.
Hmm? Man
Um,
spends the day telling people that their babies are ugly while standing outside of Walmart.
yeah, I got to meet both David Howard Thornton and Damian Leone.
Yep,
I
I've met both of them.
got to take a picture with both of them too. Yeah, that was a fun day.
Oh, this is Godzilla one. A new image of Godzilla enjoying his flesh light. Oh my goodness, I could read these all day.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
but let's not do that. I got a shit ton on there.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. But nonetheless, I look at it this way. I can't cook, and if I was in a relationship with a woman, I bu- uh, well, number one, she'd have to be able to cook because I can't do shit cooking wise. But
Hmm.
I would want my wife to be smarter than me because one of the things with me is sometimes I have a hard time figuring things out, and I like smart women, and I love capable women. That's why, I'm not opposed to the Ray movie for Star Wars. It's all in how they present it.
What do you
Like
mean Ray? What's a Ray movie? What do you mean?
Ray was the Daisy Ridley character,
Oh, okay. I
and
gotta be honest, I'm not too Star Wars educated to be completely honest.
yeah, I'm not against it. It's just how they do it. But when you get somebody saying she likes to make men uncomfortable, I'm like, you're going into this attacking the core audience. But
Yeah.
but I like strong women. I like smart women. I like women with a good sense of humor. But I've never been abusive to women, despite whatever I said at got me fired from that job. It was a hated thing, but I'll tell you one thing: I could name a lot of good women in my life that I'm proud to have around, and there's a lot of women out there that's got skills that I will never match. And I'm not against like I got my supervisor's a female. I got no problem answering to her. She treats me the very best. And when I go to Toronto, when I'm assisting Lisa at conventions, I love helping her out at those. I don't mind carrying the stuff in, whatever it is I need to do to help. One of the things I learned through Lisa, my actress friend in Toronto, was how to treat a woman. You know, um, it doesn't have to be about intimacy or sex. With her, we have nice conversation. She's got me set up on my passport so I could do cons in the States. Um, I got cards with my business cards, all that stuff. I credit to Lisa. I there's none of that I take credit for. Lisa's done so much to make my life an improvement, you know? So anytime I go to Toronto, I always appreciate seeing her. And Nancy McLaughlin said if I'm ever in California, I have a place to stay. And I'm like, you know what? That is awesome, you know. There's all kinds of great women out there. There's a lot of capable women out there, but people need to realize, you know, we don't need to live in a male versus female world. And we definitely don't need to live in a world where white men, I mean, I'm a white male and I'm getting real fucking sick and tired of hearing it's okay to be racist against me. I won't tolerate that. I don't care if a person's trans. I really don't care. I don't care. And if they want me to call them a woman or a male, I don't care. I'll call them whatever they want me to call them. Just leave me the fuck alone, you know? Um,
Mhm.
yep. But but I love the ones out there that's got a sense of humor that can look at that and laugh. And that's one of the things I envy about you is that your stance in life, you know, you're not having a pity party over your condition. You're actually, to me, you don't have a condition. Frig, you're the most together person. You got to be one of the most together people, functioning people I have ever come across.
Yeah, I get told that in life too. Like some of my friends, I mean, in my real life over here, like some of my friends come over and they say the same thing. Like it's unbelievable how much you have it together, Cody, compared to what we are all going through. And it's like, yeah,
Yep.
I mean, I don't wish bad things on anybody, but I don't want anyone to feel bad for me. I got it good.
Yeah.
And
So
if you're not watching things, I might fuck your girl behind your back, you know? I wouldn't do that to any of my actual friends. That's my rule. Like if I'm friends with the dude, I would not talk to his girl. Like genuinely, I will not talk to his girl. But if I met the girl first and I started having a thing for her and then I met the dude, well, dude, you're just too late. My dick's going in your girl's mouth, whether you like it or not.
you say, dude, I'm thinking the Big Lebowski. So you're like referring to Jeff Bridges, and I'm like, oh, you're talking about Julianne Moore swinging naked with the paint.
I don't remember that movie to be completely honest. I know
I
I
love
seen
that
it
movie.
before. I know I
I
seen
love
it
that
before,
movie.
but I haven't seen it before. I haven't seen it in quite a while. But yeah, I don't know. Things just kind of have been turning out pretty decent for me. 2023 was a god awful year for me, but
Was for me too, as I told you.
yeah, but
Yeah.
it's over with, and hopefully 2024 is going to be a better year for both of us for sure.
Well, it's not starting out good for me because I had a root canal done. So now for the first time in my life, I'm in debt, you know,
Oh,
and yeah,
oh,
I had a root canal done and I had to get some reading glasses. I had to go get my eyes checked because I was having floaters in front of my right eye. But I'm sitting there thinking, man. And then the last time I went to my dentist, they said that there may need to put a cap on one of my teeth. I said, how much is that going to be? And they said 1,300, 1,400. And I was like, are you guys really trying to fuck my bank account?
yeah, like what the fuck?
Like seriously, you know, like how about I
Did you
get
actually
this
say
on?
that to them? Did you actually say that?
No, no, but I did say, you know, look, I'm in debt enough. The answer's no.
Hmm.
That was my response to that. It
Yeah.
was like I need to get control over my my Visa card, which I think I can do, but it's going to be a gradual thing. But
Yeah.
not a good start for January. But it's only 1 month in, and I hope this is the worst of it, and it gets better. It better fucking get better. And I like I said, I want to move to Toronto because I love Toronto.
Yeah.
Toronto is my scene, you know.
Yeah.
Toronto is my scene, you know. New Brunswick is not a bad place to live if you know it's like a retirement area, but it's so fucking backwards here. It's not funny, you know. So
Backward Brunswick.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
and yet
I,
I get in
I
trouble for bringing it
suggest
up.
I suggest you get some money together, a little bit of money together, doesn't have to be a lot. Go out and get yourself a couple of condoms, and then go find a hooker and just get sucked off a couple of times, and then you'll feel better.
Actually, you know what? Here's the problem with that. I went online to see some videos regarding this. Um, I actually tried that route, and here's what happens. Now, I didn't fall for it, but I contact a woman based on what I see, and I tell her, okay, I'll have the money. I'll tell you where I am. I said, this is the money, and she'll get back to me and say that she needs a one of those cards that you put money on,
Mm,
and I'm like, no, no, come here and I'll give you the cash,
yeah. Suck my
you
dick
know,
to get the money. Yeah.
and that became a whole big thing. And it ended up where I was like, you know what, fuck this. Because she'd be like, well, I don't know you, you could be. I'm like, look, enough, enough. You either want the money or you don't.
Yeah.
You know, as so it didn't end up happening. But I'll tell you what did happen. I got text message that consists of a lot of very poorly done images of severed bodies sent to me by the person's pimp.
What?
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. I watched somebody online deal with this because he said it's basically a scam.
I was just gonna say, like, was he threatening you? Like, what was this?
Well, he was threatening me and threatening my family, and it's like it's just me and my fucking cat here. And there was like I didn't respond to him, but the images, like any low budget production could do a better job than this. But there's like severed heads and guys tied up in barbed wire with guns pointed. And I'm like sitting there thinking, you're not doing a very good job at making me feel threatened. Um, Eventually, like I would get 2 or 3 messages for about 2, maybe 3 weeks, and I ignored them every time. Guess what? The messages stopped. Why? Because they're not going to do fuck all. I was going on a walk every night by myself. And it's like if they really wanted to fight with me, like they were saying they were watching me. And I'm like, okay. I went on my walk several nights, went on my walk. Where's this person? Come on, come on, come on out.
Oh,
Come
I
on
don't
out,
get like
keyboard.
what were they angry about? That you were talking to one of the women?
No, because I wasted her time when and I'm like, no, she wasted my time.
I see.
We didn't have an exchange.
That's
So,
wild. That's a wild story.
well, I went online and I on some YouTube videos, and this is a thing that happens. Prostitutes and pimps are scamming people. And I didn't fall for it, and I'm still here because they're fucking pussies.
Mhm.
Yep. But you know what? Fuck it. I'm kind of glad it didn't happen. This whoever the woman was probably wasn't worth it.
No, I mean, in situations like that can get dangerous. So I don't know. I would just say start visiting strip clubs, but watch the money you spend. Get comfortable with, like a favorite girl or something like that. And then eventually you can just ask her, like, hey, are you aware of any females that work around here that is, does anything extra for extra? I mean, you can ask it like that. And then if she gets offended, you can just be all like, well, I wasn't directing this at you. I was just asking if you knew anybody. Worst case scenario, they'll kick you out of the club. That's it. You know? And then you just can't go back there.
Well, we don't have any strip clubs here anymore.
Really? There's no strip clubs there in
we
Canada?
we we no New Brunswick. We used to have one, but
There's another good reason why you got to go to Toronto. There's probably good strip clubs in
oh,
Toronto.
they yeah, the one of the Horrorama after parties was a strip club. So,
Yeah.
but
So just go to, yeah, I agree with you what you've been saying the last couple hours. Go to Toronto. You're gonna get pussy in Toronto.
yeah, but you know what? It's probably for the better I didn't hook up with that girl. I thought it was a good idea at the time, but I'm like, you know what? I saved whatever amount of money it was, and I got to laugh at some fucking really bad makeup pictures.
How much does she tell you
Oh, I don't know. I think it was 200 or something like that.
for everything?
I guess.
Okay. I mean, if it's 200 for everything, that sounds kind of fair. But if you're just gonna get your fucking dick sucked, just tell her you ain't giving her no more than like 50 or so.
Yeah, but
I would say also, like, if you ever did pull the trigger on messing around with a girl for money, don't do anything other than getting your dick sucked, and even maybe wear a condom too, probably.
well, I definitely would wear a condom. I don't know where her mouth has been
Yeah,
yet.
could be on
But
some dirty American cock for all you know.
well, I know somebody that it's not herpes, but what was it? He got something from being with a girl. He had to go into the hospital and get some shots, and uh, oh, I fucking forget what they call it.
Did
It's
you have
not her,
chlamydia?
not her. Yeah, chlamydia.
Chlamydia, the
Mhm.
clap.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that
yeah,
shit's from what I've heard is easy to get from any kind of sexual activity.
yeah. So it's all the more reason why, you know what? Fuck it. I don't need it that bad.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, you got to create a connection with a woman. I honestly, like, yes, I've worked out financial agreements with some of my female friends over the years, but that's just the thing. They were my female friends. They weren't like walking on the street hookers or anything like that. So I never once had to worry about any drama, trouble, danger, or STDs or anything like that. So, it's just, again, just luck, the luck of the situation I've always been in.
And of course, I look at it another way too. I mentioned Emma Stone and Margot Robbie are two of my crushes. Anna Kendrick's one too. I'm like, I can go to the movies and I can watch them. I pay to go to the movie. I pay my money. They entertain me for 90 minutes, 2 hours, whatever. Then I go home.
Then you can jerk off at home.
Well, it comes down to this. I often joked with people. I said, you know, I have a great relationship with Emma Stone and Margot Robbie and dot. I said, when they do a movie, they entertain me. Then I go home. They got my money, then I go home. I said, I don't have to see their bad habits. They don't have to see my bad habits.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have to risk having a home relationship with them because, well, I might end up hating them.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this works out well. I look at
Exactly.
Margot Robbie and Barbie, and she looks fucking stunning. So I'm like, yeah, yeah. I don't need to know her bad habits.
Right.
I already heard enough of Amber Heard's bad habits, and
I was just gonna say you don't need Margot Robbie clogging up your toilet with too much shit and all that, right? Because you'd be the one to have to plunge it, and you know
you
she's
know,
not gonna do
it's strange when I go to the washroom. My cat likes to go in the washroom when I'm in there. I'm like, really, Skittles? I do not bug you when you're in the litter box.
Right.
Like seriously, you're coming in here, really?
Have you
Yeah.
attempted dating sites at all?
You know what? I tried at one point and I got immediately got off of them because all I was getting were uglies.
Well,
And
yeah, I mean, like I met a couple of different girls off these dating sites, but then it turned out I wasn't compatible with them. It wasn't that they were ugly, it was just they wanted things in life that I didn't want. Like one of them wanted for sure wanted kids, and I was like, nope, I don't want that.
hmm but like that was all I was getting. And I don't remember what site it was, but it was like I'm 51 years old. The women that I was being selected for me, I think the youngest might have been 45. I'm like, are you like fuck off with that? Like seriously.
I tell you, I'm in my like late 30s, and I have my dating profile. It says I'm 10 years younger than I am, so I'm only like 27, 28 on the dating pro, and it works because like people who don't know me, they wouldn't know. Like seriously, like do I? You can mistake me for being in my late 20s, like like
Yeah.
women and my pictures aren't altered or anything like that. I don't have any editing. Like you can see all the scarring and whatever on my face, and they're current pictures. They're maybe not even a year or two old, and it's like, hey, so I get to talk to the girls in their 20s, and a couple of them, the one I talked to, I got to know a little bit over the phone. Then I told her what my real age was, and she was like, well, I'm already getting to know you now, so fuck it. But then it just turned out like she wanted marriage, she wanted children, like no matter what. And it's like,
No
bitch,
thanks.
yeah, no, no, no. Like if I met a girl and we were super compatible, the whole marriage thing I could possibly open up my mind to. That's not a for sure I never ever would marriage, but kids, no motherfucking way. No,
hmm
not my own. I can maybe deal with a woman's kids that she already has already. If her tubes are tied and I could just bust all up in her and I don't have to worry about having any of my own. Yeah, fine. I'll put up with your kids if I get you, and all that. But I do not want any of my own ever. And I think I talked about that on the last episode, so I won't go too far into it. But
I
man,
agree with you too.
yeah, no kids for me. I understand that works for other people and that brings joy to some others. Great for them, just not
hmm
for me.
Yeah. Yeah. So what else do you have that you want to promote on here? Anything else?
Um, Not really. I had that GoFundMe, but I stopped promoting that mainly because in 2023, throughout almost the entire year, I was embroiled in a battle with Social Security. They were actually taking money from every month of my check. They claimed that I was overpaid back in 2020 and early 2021, and
Uh-huh.
I knew exactly what the issue was. It was the fucking stimulus checks that we all got here in the States. Um, and I remember thinking that back in late 2020, early 2021, like we're getting these stimulus checks. It's sending my bank account over the resource limit because that's one of the rules for to be an SSI recipient is you can't have more than $2,000 saved up, which is bullshit. It's a bullshit rule. But those stimulus checks definitely took my resource limit over 2,000 for a few months. But I looked up the rules on their website, and the rules were that you could keep your stimulus check in your bank account up to 12 months without it counting against your resource limit. So I kept it in my bank account for about five months because I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. I didn't really want to blow it all. I kind of wanted to save it. And that's ultimately what I ended up doing. But yeah, when they sent me those papers, I never forget it. I'll never forget it. Back it was like March of 2023, and it had these 3, 4, 5 page packet of papers explaining to me that I was overpaid and that they were gonna take back $1,500 from me. They were gonna cut 10% of my check, which is about $100. They were gonna basically cut somewhere around $93 off my check every single month until they collected back 1,500. And then they had down the months that I was overpaid supposedly. And soon as I looked at that, it was between October of 2020 and April of 2021. And I looked at that, and I was like, well, that's exactly when we had the stimulus checks coming out to us. So I knew for an absolute fact that I was in the right and they were in the wrong. And I started fighting that in May or June of 2023, and I just won my case here in December uh, of 2023. And then they gave me back all the money that they took, which they took over like $500 from me, but they gave all of it back and my check's back to normal. But the point is during that time that they were that I was fighting with them about all this, they were checking all of my incomes. Yeah, they were checking every little, like, where are you getting money from? What's this? What's that? So then I realized, like, holy shit, like if they find out about my GoFundMe, then I'm gonna be fucked again, and then I probably won't win my case. So I don't know if I don't think it's shut down, but I stopped promoting it. So I don't ask podcasters to promote. I would actually prefer it if you didn't promote it, because
Mhm.
I'd rather just go dark, honestly. I don't want to I don't, and not since I got into a year-long battle almost with Social Security, I don't want to fucking risk it again.
Yeah.
So I used to have that. That's gone. I don't know. I'm still with Rabbit and Red. I just don't do things on a regular basis over there. I heard that they're on Rumble now exclusively. I don't think they're on YouTube anymore.
I got mine on YouTube and Spotify. I'm trying to figure out with Rumble whether I can put, because I got some interviews in my past that are audio only. And I'm like, can I not put audio interviews up on Rumble?
I don't know. I don't know
You
anything
know?
about Rumble, honestly. I have not checked out the website yet. But I don't know what the big thing is over there. I think Mike had some sort of fallout with Tom or something like that. There's a big drama thing all over again at Rabbit and Red, and I stayed out of it, like I did the last time around when he had a big fallout with Aaron and them. But I don't know what happened exactly, but it led to them taking the Rabbit and Red YouTube channel down, and now I think it's exclusive to Rumble. It might be on a couple other things. It might be on Spotify as well, but I know they're not. I know their video platform is, I think, on Rumble. But yeah, I'll still go there and do some things from time to time. He'll let me pretty much throw out any idea I want out at him. But I can't remember who I said this to a while ago, but I just don't have a passion for podcasting. Like I don't I like doing it from time to time, but like I said earlier, I'm not trying to make any money off of doing this. And like I said, if I ended up doing it and it ended up blowing up and I got popular, then again, like I said earlier, I would have to neuter my personality in some sort of fashion. I'd have to change something, and then I would just not be happy doing it.
No.
So I I just like doing occasional things. That's what I'm going to continue to do. Who knows? Here eventually, I'll go on and do something on Rabbit and Red. Maybe me and Paul will do another Crossing the Streams episode, or maybe we'll do a hot seat episode of something. I don't know. I've been trying to get Mike to do a hot seat episode with me concerning all the drama, but he's not ready to do that just yet. I don't know if he'll ever do that, honestly. But no, I'm sure I'll go on there and do something. I'm still super close with Mike. I'm still close with Paul, and you know, I I'm welcome to come on there anytime that I want, probably. So who knows? A few months, maybe a few weeks. I don't know. I'll definitely be doing something in 2024 with them. I don't know yet. I don't know what yet though.
Here's a question for you. If you had the opportunity to go you on a date with any famous female, what would your top five picks would be?
Oh, I don't fucking know if I have top five, because I just don't give a shit about most. celebrities and actors and all that shit.
Well, I'm just
I
trying to figure out who you find attractive, who.
um I think Lauren Lavera from the Terrifier movie, she's pretty attractive.
Hmm.
I think she can't be that old either. I think she's probably only in her early 30s. Um, I don't know. There's a couple of female wrestlers from AEW that I'd probably go out on a date with. But the funny thing is if I ever did actually go out on a date with any of these women, they're gonna buy their own goddamn food. So, um, I think, Danielle Harris is still a decent, attractive woman. I met her before, all the way
Same
back in
here.
the yeah, all the way back in the early 2010s. I got to meet her, and she was super cute back then.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I know she does a podcast with Scout Taylor Compton, from the Rob Zombies Halloween movies. I personally haven't checked that out yet. I don't really need that type of spank bank material just yet in my life, so I haven't listened to that or watched that yet. But I can imagine she's still cute. Um, I don't know. I don't really. I see that's the thing. That's a hard question to answer because I don't fantasize about taking women out on dates. I fantasize more about just having a casual hangout time with a woman. Like, come over and watch a movie with me. Let's play a video game, or I don't know. Like, and if we go out for dinner, we're buying our own stuff. I'll buy my own stuff. You buy your own stuff. If you want to be a mindless tool and tip the server, go ahead, but I'm not going to. So, I don't know. I don't. A date isn't really what I'm looking for. I like being just as a friend to most of the women that's in my life.
Hmm. Talk about the tipping thing. I find that interesting because I can see arguments on both sides on that. If I
Yeah.
may look at Steve Buscemi from Reservoir Dogs, I understand his point, but sometimes when you get that thing handed to you, they don't give you a choice.
Well, that's not entirely true, at least here in the States. I don't know if it's different over there in not Toronto, wherever the fuck you're at right now, Brunswick or whatever. It kind of goes hand in hand with the same thing I was talking about earlier about once you rip the band-aid off of being an asshole, being unfiltered, it comes easy after that. It's the same thing when you're in a setting and somebody puts a screen in your face and expects a tip. Once you rip the band-aid off of not being ashamed or being scared to hit the no tip button or to write down zero on the tip line on a receipt, once you get over that, it becomes nothing. I have no uncomfortness, no shame. I mean, and I dare one of these cunts to say something to me over a no tip because I will fucking have an argument with them right in the middle of the store or the restaurant. Like the thing is I'm one customer, I'm one
Hmm.
person, and I'm not trying to push that onto other people. Like if I go out with two or three other people, sure, they go ahead and tip, then I don't tip. And hey, guess what? That server still made money off our table. And I didn't have to pay anything outside of the bill. So, you know what I mean? Like, and that's my mindset. Like, I'm one customer throughout the day. Most of the customers are tipping. I'm not affecting these women's bottom lines as far as their tip money goes at the end of a full shift.
Hmm.
I I knew a girl a while ago who was working at a bullshit Denny's, and a lot of the people that went in there were not well rich or well, they didn't have a lot of money or whatever. And she was telling me that on most days, most full 8 hour shift days, she was still bringing home somewhere around $400 a night just off of tips. And it's like, holy fucking shit. Like, that's great. Like, yes, you're slaving for people basically, but it's not that difficult. And an 8 hour shift, you're bringing home untaxed money, just tips that you're just shoving in your pocket. And it wasn't a tipping pool at that place at that time, if you know what that means. It wasn't, she didn't have to split up her tips at the end of the night for the cook and the hostess and all the other, the dishwasher and all that. It was her money. So, um, yeah, I don't feel ashamed whatsoever when I'm one fucking person throughout that day. Now, if I was going into the same place every 3 or 4 hours throughout each day and I was maybe then I'd feel a little weird about it. But I go out maybe once or twice a week. You know what I mean? Like these
Hmm.
bitches will be a-okay without my money. And that's the thing. Like I said earlier, I'm an SSI recipient. I'm low income. I'm technically living in poverty. By all standards, I am in poverty, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ever question me as a server. Don't ever get in my face about me not tipping you. Bitch, I don't know you. You don't know. That's the thing. If the tables were turned and I went into a public place and I said, hey guys, I'm disabled. Both my parents just died recently. I need help. Hardly no one's going to help. They're going to just say, well, we don't know you. Sorry. We'll try to call someone else. You know what I mean? And maybe there might be that one person who like, hey, I'll help you. I'll take care of you. And that's great. And that's the thing. There's plenty of customers who tip because they all feel pressured, but I'm not one of them. I don't donate my money. I don't tip. I hardly ever loan out money to friends even. Like if I have a friend who's asking to borrow money off of me, what are you fucking thinking? Like, no, like you have all the potential in the world to have money. I don't. I have barely what I have. Like, you know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm managing just fine, but I'm not handing out my money to anyone. It's just all there
Mm-hmm.
is to it. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think tipping culture is very toxic,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know. I just think it should go away. Like a lot of these companies, these big chains, the big food chains, um, they can afford to pay their servers much better. They can afford it, but they don't because they know the customer's always going to feel peer pressured to tip. It's never going to change. I don't think it's going to change in either one of our lifetimes. And I'm fine with that. I feel empowered to have the balls to not tip, honestly. So I'm fine with the way it is.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with you too, you know. So, have you done any conventions this year or last year, I should say?
I think it was last April. I think it was me and a buddy of mine went to Horror Realm. It's in Pittsburgh, PA, here in the States. And that's where I met David Howard Thornton that day. Damien Leone, got to take a picture with both of them. I
Hmm?
got to meet what's that guy from Jason Lives, Tom
Tom
Matthews?
Matthews? Tom
Yeah,
Matthews, yep.
got to meet him. We had more of a conversation about the Return of the Living Dead, and he was telling me some interesting stories about why the second one absolutely sucked. Because he said, he was like, "Oh, the Japanese took over, and they didn't know what the fuck to do with it." It was real funny. He's an older man now. You can tell he's probably hit the booze bottle quite a bit in the last several decades, whatever. Because he don't look that healthy these days, whatever. But he was all right to talk to, but you could also tell he really didn't want to be there, whatever. Um, and then they also had, I think his name Tom Fridley. He played
Yep.
he was one that drive the RV, got
Yep.
stabbed.
Yep.
He was actually super cool to talk to. He was super social. He was walking around talking to everybody. And like he wasn't just because that's what a lot of them do. A lot of them stay at their tables and they won't talk to you unless you come up and buy something, right? But am I saying his name right? Tom Fridley is his name.
Yep. Yep.
He was just different.
Mhm.
He was walking around just talking to everybody. He talked to me before I even went up to his table to buy a picture off of him. He was just super cool. Um, and I asked him about that. I said, "Man, you seem happy to be here, unlike a lot of these other people." And he told me, he's like, "Man, I just live off the grid. I live in a trailer, or not a trailer, but like an RV." He said he's like, "I live like in an RV type of space where I don't talk to hardly anyone and I'm not bothered by anyone." So he's like, "When I do these type of things, it's not overwhelming." And I was like, "Well, goddamn, that makes a lot of sense." Yeah, that guy's super cool to talk to. I know I posted a picture of him that I took. And then
I've interviewed Tom Matthews 3 times, and I met him at both Horrorama and Frightmare in the Falls. I had a good time with Tom.
I think it was like Horror Realm. It's just a smaller convention,
Hmm.
and I can imagine a lot of these people just weren't, they probably weren't paid what they felt like they deserved to be paid to be there. And then the thing is as an actor or someone from the past, nostalgic reasons, you're expecting people to come see you. But the two big stars that weekend was David Howard Thornton and Damien Leone. So you went to this place, yeah, there was probably a couple thousand people there, but most, if not all of them, was wrapped around the entire inside and outside of the building to meet Damien Leone and David Howard Thornton. And then all these other tables, yeah, there's a few people walking up to them here and there, but that was it, like, and I would suspect that had something to do with it too. Like maybe they just weren't happy with the amount of money they didn't make from extra meet and greets with the fans. I don't know, honestly. I went on the second day. I didn't go on the first day. It runs for a weekend, and I don't know. Like no one was like not nice or whatever. I think when these people do these conventions, they probably, I don't know if they sign a contract, but I think the people who run conventions probably tell them like, hey, you got to be nice to the customers because that's our fan base, if they have a bad experience, you know what I mean? So, and that's how some of them come off. Like, I also got to meet Gail Kim from TNA Wrestling, if you ever
Okay.
know who that
Yep,
is.
I know who that is. Yep.
And she was nice, like don't get me wrong, but I could just tell she just wasn't into having a conversation and not into talking about what my favorite matches of hers that she was like, oh, thanks, cool. You want to take a picture? Like that type of shit. And it's like, well, whatever, I don't know. So yeah, there's some good experiences and not so great experiences. I remember back in 2007, uh, I met what's his name, Tom Savini for the very first time, and he's not a sociable guy.
No,
He
I've
comes
heard.
off, well, at least at that point in time, but he came off very annoyed and very like, let's get to the point. What do you want to buy? That type of shit. Not necessarily mean, but he just has like a social awkwardness to him. And that was in 2007. Whatever, it was what it was. But then here in 2018, we all got to go to that convention that they do at the Monroeville Mall where they shot the original Dawn of the Dead. And
Uh-huh.
I got to meet Tom Savini again, and he was different, and I feel like it was probably because the convention probably, asked him, please be a little bit nicer to the guests or whatever. So, he was a little bit more social. He took a picture with me. It was a lot better than how it was in 2007, but yeah, over the years, I got to meet some cool people. I got to meet Tony Todd. I got to meet Sid Haig. You know who
Hmm.
that is, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Sid Haig. I can't remember if I told this story on the last episode or not, but he asked me if I wanted him to personalize a message to me on the autograph, and I said yeah, and I said I want you to put to Cody, fuck your grandma, and I had everyone was in the line laughed when I said that, and he thought it was funny and said it was a pretty cool experience meeting Sid Haig, definitely.
I've done 4 horror-ramas, and the last one I was at, uh, Caroline Monroe was the top guest, and she was busy all weekend, and it was so awesome. I've had her on the show here back in 2016, but meeting her was really cool. I've done Frightmare in the Falls 3 times, and I've done Toronto Comic Con once. So Lisa, I think, wants to do Chiller in New Jersey, and if she does, and I'm open to doing that with her, if I can
Mhm.
get my finances straightened out here and within reasonable control, I'm happy to do that.
Well, like I said earlier, just start yourself an OnlyFans. Maybe you and Rob Mahoney can do a OnlyFans together.
Yeah, I don't think
Maybe
anybody wants to see me do that. So
no, listen. I mean, there's perverts out there that might want to see that.
no thanks.
Maybe you and Rob could rub some peanut butter on each other's nipples or something. I don't know.
Well, number one, he doesn't live here,
Oh,
and number two, not my thing. Not
well,
my thing. I like women,
he can
so
travel. He can travel. He can transform, self-identify as a woman. He could get the rest of his teethers knocked out, and then I'm telling you, man, getting a blowjob from a woman with no teethers, oh, it's like your dick's in heaven, when that happens.
no, I could do an OnlyFans with my living pussy, Skittles.
And you know what? Don't even say that shit. That
I could I could say here's Skittles and Skittles. I could here's Skittles here, and then
oh
cut out.
geez.
Yeah.
No, you don't want to do that. You don't want to no. And I mean unless it's a non-sexual OnlyFans type
Oh, it
of
wouldn't well, it wouldn't be sexual. Fuck
yeah.
no.
Just have Skittles knock around a yarn ball or something like
There
that.
you go. That would be about it.
Okay. I was
No.
hoping that was the only
I
place.
I I sexually I don't deal with men. I don't deal with trannies. I don't deal with animals. I deal with women only, preferably ones that I'm attracted to. And if people don't like that, too fucking bad, you know?
You know what I predict is coming next? I think there's going to be this big thing because there's all these tranny women who they get a medically produced pussy, which again, that doesn't make you a woman, just makes you a male with a pussy, a medically made pussy. But I could foresee in the future there's going to be these women there's these trans women, these males who trick men into sleeping with them, right? And
Mhm.
then, I mean, that's going to be all bad. Because, then these guys are going to find out, holy shit, like, I thought you were a woman, you had a pussy. And then,
Yeah, and then the guy is gonna be the one that's gonna get in trouble for it, of
yeah,
course.
yeah.
Yeah, he'll be the one to get canceled because
Well, that's if
you don't
he's
want.
And that's if these guys don't end up killing these other mentally ill guys, because that could drive a man insane. Like, holy shit, you just tricked me into doing some faggot shit. I don't fucking think so, bitch. You're dead. Like, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, and I'm not condoning that. Like, I hope that doesn't happen because even though I think it's silly when people transform like that, I don't think they don't deserve to lose their life. Just be happy, but be upfront and honest. Like, if you're a trans, tell someone right off the bat.
Yep, I agree. I agree.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Anything else before we close off?
Uh,
I knew
oh,
this was gonna be a long one.
yeah, I know. I'm kind of glad we went long because I feel like the last time we only went for like what, 45 minutes or something.
No, we went 3 hours.
The last episode was 3 hours?
Oh yeah.
What? Anyway,
I think
wow.
you were my longest one last year, I think.
Wow, I'm gonna have to go back and look at that. I'm not sure if that was 3 hours. I don't know. But anyway, no, like I said earlier, check out that documentary, The Fall of Minneapolis. I not tonight, but here in a couple of days, I'll send you the link of it on YouTube. It's a there's I don't think there's any gonna be any commercials because it's not monetized on YouTube, and they even shut down the comments on it as well, because obviously everyone's gonna get an argument about it, but I highly suggest to you and any person listening to this to watch that documentary, no matter what side of the fence you are on with that subject from a few years ago. Just it's an eye-opening documentary for sure. Uh yeah, watch that and fuck, I don't know. That's really about it. I'm really big into Pluto TV. I would definitely suggest anyone that loves free streaming to check out Pluto TV more often if you don't, that's a great service. I watch Pluto like all the fucking time, honestly. So that's it. I mean, Rabbit and Red Radio on Rumble, Mike Sankovich's huge cock, we all know he's got a huge cock. Uh, Rob Rob Mahoney's saggy titties, and you know, uh, your pussycat Skittles. I'm gonna promote it all. That's what I'll promote.
Gills is over there asleep. He's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. You exploited me enough on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all right, man. I appreciate that you had me on. It was a fun time.
Oh, well, I knew it was going to be fun.
Yeah. Yep,
Yep,
that's it.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. Well, you take care, and I wish you prosperous 2024.
Thank you. You too.
All right, take care, man.
All right. Bye.
Bye.